Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
This is Geek News Radio. Broadcast 57 for Sunday, March 11th, 2018. Primarch Planner.
You're listening to Geek News Radio, episode 57. I'm Dave in Birmingham.
I'm Mike in Scaries.
And I'm Fab in Hamburg. Guys, what the hell is happening? It's really cold. Like, fucking cold. It's like minus...
It's the beast from the east, Fab. It's the beast.
Oh, I just read that on the train today.
Storm Emma.
It's like...
descended.
It's like -5. It's gonna be now -6. If I wanted this kind of weather, I would have moved to Denmark or Sweden or fucking Finland.
So like, that's the thing. Like we've got like some people like going to Iceland or something, and it's just gonna be like 5-10 degrees warmer there than it's gonna be here for like the next couple of days, which is bonkers. But yeah, actually, I mean, kind of Birmingham's not really had like the shit weather yet. We've had like enough snow to make people panic buy bread. But not enough snow to stop anything working. Allegedly, like, by the time the episode comes out, we'll probably have, like, a load of snow, and we'll all be crying. But right now, it's just a little bit nippy outside.
I was just in the local shop there, and the bread shelves are empty. You know, the fights in the aisles have started, and my wife is going, what are we gonna do if the electricity goes? You know, we can't. How are we gonna make food?
And meanwhile, the Danish guy's like, I got this. I'm just gonna get a pick, put a hole in the ice, you know.
Yeah, it's like we have a fire pit outside. You know, there's a bit of firewood sitting there for such an emergency occasion. You know, and yeah, we can put a few tins on a hot plate or something. And, yeah, tins in the fire like you do. Then you walk away and let it explode, and then you come back and put a spoon in it, you know. And, yeah, it's all good.
You got this. Well, let's start with the most important thing. I'm drinking Aberlour 12-year-old Scotch because it's so cold I need to warm my bones.
Oh, very nice. I'm
solid.
Just reaching into my fridge here. Did I mention I have a fridge?
Oh, God, yes. I'm still working on that. I am working on it.
And of course, it's full of Carlsberg, which is not very original, but it's just there at my left hand.
And I have Old Speckled Hen, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
It's very good ale, yeah.
I don't know. It's like a cold weather beer, I think.
Is it?
I don't know why.
See, I had not lunch, dinner on the way home because I had to hurry, you know. And I had dinner. And they had beer there, and I thought of bringing some beer, but it's just so cold. I can't. It's too cold for beer. I don't say this often, but I need Scotch.
Heresy.
That's where you need like the proper British, just warm beer, just like room temperature beer. That is like a very old man. Like I have strong memories of like my grandpa going to like this pub that like these days I just would not go in. Like, would be terrified to go in. Be like, they'd have their like liberal elite radar, and they'd be like, this guy has opinions we don't like. But he'd go in there and like he'd drink warm beer and like play snooker.
So your granddad was like, you got all the liberal shit from him?
No. Like I don't know. I just feel like I kind of feel like they put up with me because I was a small annoying child.
Oh, you
like,
had the opinions.
Yeah, well, I mean, now
right.
I have the opinions. That like, if I walked into that pub right now, like, I don't think it would go well.
So your granddad was normal, like, you know.
He was normal for like he'd be like 90 something now, I guess. Reasonably conservative, very old man. Yeah, sure.
You respectfully opposed his views on things as he drank his warm ale. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, realistically, I probably just like went and annoyed people playing snooker, asking if I could play. But you know, I was a child in a pub. Classic.
Yep.
Nice. So warm beer. Yeah, that well, It had to be like you can warm it up, right?
The thing, I don't know. I think it's just stored warm. I think it's just lazy. I don't understand where the stereotype of British people.
No, actually,
beer.
like beer connoisseurs will drink beer a lot warmer than normal people because it brings the flavor out more. So that is the
warmer,
thing.
so it can like evaporate more.
So actually, like beer that needs to be drunk cold is usually like really shitty beer because like the colder something is, the less you taste because it numbs your taste buds.
Yeah, because it's like the thing with whiskey that like if you don't put like cold shit in it so that the aromatic compounds can sort of vaporize and you can breathe it in and smell it with your primary taste sense. I feel like I've read too much. You ever get the feeling you've gone too far down the rabbit hole when someone's like talking about like, I don't know. I feel like I know literally everything.
That is called being a nerd, and this show is called Geek News Radio. So no,
none of that shit here. Sounds edumacated.
We want more of that.
I've just posted you a link there that on the Beast from the East that accurately shows
that
how
name
things are
is
going
just
down,
amazing.
Right?
Oh yeah.
If you look at that, empty bread shells in the south.
Hamburg is actually doing quite well. There's empty shells and there's like guy doing a barbecue in the north, right? Yeah.
Very accurate.
Hamburg is actually doing quite well. So I heard somebody say today, like it's like this isn't cold, right? So for a real hamburger, if you're a real hamburger, it's only cold when your tits freeze off or something. I don't know what it was. But yeah, so the problem is I have to go to Hanover and I have to, of course, use Deutsche Bahn, which is our not public anymore, but used to be public. Yeah, the national railway system. And
what?
Well, the railways, they used to be public, and then they go private.
But they haven't gone. They haven't gone to shit like other privatized.
They've not gone yet.
No, they go to shit. As soon as there's wind, rain, leaves on the tracks, God forbid snow, everything goes to shit. Like it took me like so there's like ICE trains leaving at the time I go from Hanover, I go back to Hamburg. They're leaving about like 2 every hour, and like I was just sitting at the train stations like, one, no, it's not arriving, second one's not arriving, third one's not arriving. Okay, do we have to take the shitty slow train now? And then that was full, of course, because everybody went in there. It's just
lovely.
The beast from the east.
East, yes.
Yeah.
Emma, the warrior queen. Storm Emma.
I don't know. They're calling it Hartmut here, so I don't know. Do we have different names? Is it a different storm?
I was told over here it's Emma. Storm Emma.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like the vaguely local Met Office, like, the sort of local weather people name it. So like,
really, I thought don't they have like European? Oh, but it's probably European wide, and you're just doing your Brexit thing.
It's almost certainly like the Met Office in the UK. It's just gone like, nah, it's Emma, because that none of these foreign names.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising that like, does.
Yeah.
Do you use like the Met Office? Because like in the UK, like whenever we have like,
we use the Met Office? We're German.
No,
we have the Deutsche
So like specifically, like so Mike. So like in the UK, when you're like on watching TV and you're like watching the weather, like the weather stops when it goes south in Ireland. Like the north has
it's so
weather.
funny. It always I always laugh because Belfast is there, right?
Yeah,
and
Belfast
they
has temperatures and exists.
Yeah.
But as far as like our maps are concerned, like holy shit, you're lucky if Belfast is on the map. Like there was this whole thing recently about like the kind of Scotland got a victory because like the map projection has always been, imagine like you're like hovering over France.
Sorry, wind this back. What is the problem? You're not on the map?
Well, so like it's always been like in weather maps in the UK, very like South England centric. So that like it's always been the kind of perspective has been you're like sat in Paris and you're like hovering and you're looking towards England. So the south of England looks fucking massive. And then like Scotland looks tiny, and everyone kind of thinks Scotland's really small because on the weather maps it looks small, and then like you're lucky if like Northern Ireland gets a look in on the weather. But recently they've like changed the map projection to better reflect that the Scotland exists, but still.
Is that projection? Is that because of the because the curve, whatever? Because Scotland's so far up?
It's not. It's as far as I know, it's not even like a standard map projection.
It's
like,
just the BBC map projection.
It's just like BBC is in London. Why would you not? And then like
it's called Greenwich Mean Time, right?
Yeah, and it's a line that goes from like the North Pole to the South Pole. So surely, like, I don't know. But yeah, so it's like it does like the Republic of Ireland still use the Met Office? Just we don't get to see the data.
We have our own, Met Aaron, it's called.
Okay.
But because I tend to listen to UK news rather, just because there's more interesting stuff going on.
Funnier things.
It's always so it's always like and blah 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 blah, and there might be a slight mention of Belfast or something like that. So I can sometimes guess what it's going to be here in Ireland, but yeah, it's definitely like just this no man's land that nobody speaks of. The rest of it.
I've been watching the Grand Tour, right? Because I didn't have Amazon Prime for it. Don't ask why. Everybody's like, why don't you have Prime? What the fuck's wrong with you? Anyway, so they had an episode in Scotland, where they were in Scotland, and they were saying about how Scottish sports people are always Scottish as long as they're like relatively shit, and as soon as they win something, they're British.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's honestly so bad. You think that like people doing it are just perpetuating the joke because like everyone knows like that's a very common thing for like it to be pointed out that, but it just still continues to happen like ridiculous. So I think there's just like people at like the BBC and like Channel 4 and stuff like that who are just like, that thing we do, let's keep doing it because people keep talking about it and it gets us clicks. Like it's so fucking annoying. The same kind of stuff happens with like Welsh teams, but they generally don't win.
By the way,
so
if I seem a little bit distracted, this is because the third or fourth largest television network in Germany is currently right now in a Twitter feud with me. So as we recording this, they're showing the first 2 episodes of The Orville on German TV, which is why I was talking in the last episode that I was watching it. And I finished it, and I wrote for today. I wrote an article about this. So you'd think they'd be happy that I tell people that this nice TV show is on their like legacy television thing, where you have to actually tune into a certain time to watch it. You know that thing? And I so the television network's called Pro7. It's like 7 is German for the number 7. Yep. And in the article, I'll spell them pro, and then the 7 like spelled out like as a number.
Yeah.
And now they're giving me shit on Twitter because I didn't spell it out.
You didn't follow the brand style guide, Fab.
Which is why I'm writing them back. The reader understands this. This is my goal. I don't care about your brand. And then I just attached an all-will GIF.
But their logo is
number 7, yes,
and then the number 7, isn't it? So,
So I think they used to be like. I think the problem is when I was watching TV and when I was growing up in the 90s, it was like the 7, like the number 7. I don't know what's. Anyway, sorry, I had to just reply cheekily on Twitter while we were talking.
I thought you were maybe like looking at girls as tanks or something like that. But, that other thing is.
It's a good call, Mike.
Panzer medals.
I mean, the thing is like I'm sure all the beauty pageant season is coming up in Tankistan, and you have to get some morale to your citizens.
Yeah, so, it's cold, man. It's the beast from the east. We need pictures that make the soldiers warm, which is tanks and girls. Anyway, speaking of maps, we were talking of maps, and I discovered something really nice. So do you guys know what Mapbox is?
Yeah, it's like this kind of thing where you can get super arty maps of arbitrary places on the Earth, right?
Yeah, it's a mapping service you can use. Like, it's an API that you'd use if you have a website. Usually, like, they use a lot. Like, they basically what they do is they use OpenStreetMap and make them nice looking.
Yes.
And they have some very nice map styles. And so they wrote a blog post where you can use their API. Like, you have to have an account, but I've had an account for ages. I've been playing around with their maps for a long time. And they have this thing where you can output like a picture. And so they have this, you know how Google for their Nexus phones has like satellite pictures
Yeah.
of really nice places as wallpapers? And they have this thing where you can like, well, they say only for iPhones, but there's no reason you couldn't do that for any other phone. Basically, you choose a map, you choose a map style, you choose the area you want, and then you just export like a PNG and use that as a wallpaper. But they have some really amazing styles. So I made one with Hamburg, and I thought this was cool. I like maps. I'm a big
It's really
map
cool. I think
fanboy.
someone used that API to build a kind of website where you could like order a print, so you could get like a framed canvas kind of thing.
That's amazing.
I can't remember. It was on Hacker News because that's where I get like.
Of
all
course.
my love-hate relationship with that fucking website. But yeah, it was really, really cool. You can basically just say like, I'd like this, and it sends you a framed kind of thing to put on your wall. But I think it only shipped to America at the time.
Well, I have this now. I can just put this in.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like you could conceivably do it yourself if you like have a decent printer and like know how to frame things. But
And they have some amazing styles, like some you can do like adventure map style.
I really like the kind of like the sort of like black and grey one.
Oh yeah.
So like the roads are in black and all like the land is in grey.
They have also
really
a red one that looks like it's right from like a sci-fi thing. So you can actually use them also with satellite images. I made one. You not only do it for like your phone. I did like a desktop wallpaper, and it's basically the place we went to in October in Fiji. And it looks amazing. It makes me feel warm inside when it's like -10 outside. I'm freezing my nuts off. By the way, speaking about freezing your nuts off, just quick rant, and then you guys can talk about whatever you're going to talk about. So you know how the Olympics are on right now, and the Germans are quite good in ice hockey.
Yeah.
And everybody
they beat Canada's kind of like bad team.
Yes.
And Sweden.
Yes,
And Sweden. But
it's
like
completely
everyone's-
pisses. Sorry.
yeah, so everyone's been like, oh man, like imagine Canada turning up and like beating Germany at football. And I'm like, yeah, that's because they're not playing like the best Canadian team.
Yeah, well,
Like,
yes.
all of the good people are not turning up to the
They're in
Olympics.
Pittsburgh right now. They're playing for the Penguins.
Yeah, it's always like, yeah, but it's kind of. They were good tweets. They were good, snarky tweets. But other than that, I was like, wait, no, calm, guys. Like, Germany isn't better at ice hockey than Canada. It appears to be so.
What pissed me off, the German Foreign Affairs Office basically had a cheeky tweet at the Canadians.
That was good. That was the one I liked.
That was good, but it was kind of like, that would be like if the World Cup was on, and at the same time the Premier League and Bundesliga and all top European leagues were still playing, and like fucking Ronaldo and everybody was still like playing with their club. And then, like, players from my team in the second Bundesliga would be, like, in the national team. Well, the Canadians could beat us then,
But, I mean, you beat Sweden, and I'm just happy about that. So, like, whatever you just said there, I was just like, la, 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 la. And then I don't care if Sweden sent their Z team, as long as they just got beat. So
I understand that completely, but I'm very happy for the two Swedes that play for Pittsburgh. They're amazing. One of them just got a contract extension today. Hornquist, he's amazing. They're really good. So I'm happy for the Swedes there. I'm pretty sure Sidney Crosby, give him like a goalie of his choice. A goalie and Sidney Crosby could probably beat the German team all by themselves.
Just like, don't even give him a goalie. He doesn't even need it. Like,
yeah, probably not. He wouldn't lose the puck.
No, he'd be like, I'm just too good.
Run Imperial Reds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it would make like face off is a little bit kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, that
a little
would be
bit weird.
awkward.
It'd be like, who am I passing to? I guess myself. So he has to like almost ice it and then go down
Yeah.
the rake.
Yeah. So, by the way, we didn't do the thing we sometimes want to do to tell people what the show is about. Today, we actually mostly want to talk about like 20 minutes in the show. I'm telling this to people. We're gonna talk about Divinity, Original Sin 2, because we have to now. And
Indeed.
I wanted to get Chara on, but she's kind of excused herself. She's been very, very busy and shit. Well, I guess we get to talk about to
Much
about
like
it.
how I could not take the official position of Autodesk.
And yeah, that too. Yes. Although I never expected her to take the official position of Larry. Maybe you should get her to talk to the main Larian guy, get him on.
Maybe.
Get
Or
your
maybe
official
she can
position.
talk about the 2019 Autodesk products. And I can
And you
talk about
just talking about
Larian.
Larian.
Excellent.
Okay,
yes.
so-
Yeah,
yes.
I just sounds fucking brilliant because I have like no idea. What
Okay,
else they do.
Mike das Heise.
Yeah, Mike does
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
talk about that hacker attack on Maersk.
I will do my very best to be in the German accent. Yeah.
You can pull that off. That will work. Yeah, but before we get into that, you guys had some social justice warrior bullshit you wanted to push on the agenda.
We always have that, you know.
Yeah,
We
we're
always have
always
that.
fighting
Yeah,
for
yeah.
social justice because being a social justice warrior is a good thing. I've got my thumb up right now. This would be way more dramatic if we had video.
Is Ellie there?
No,
Because
she's out right now.
you need some heckling right now.
No brownie points.
Yeah, so Mike linked us to some new women heads. for
Heresy!
miniatures. Where's the website? The website's, what is it? So the website you linked me to is not the same one as I have used previously, but they look almost the same.
It seems to be sort of a
Discordant
nice,
note.
nice disruptive work there. I think there's a little bit of a maybe like a cottage industry of these sort of smaller figures designers that do the heads, and they don't say for Games Workshops thing, but it's pretty clear that's what they.
I think the company that makes them are called Statuesque, and they basically make like aftermarket like bits for miniatures. And they have previously been making heads for that appear to be of women with like cool, interesting hairstyles, and they've made it from a number of different scales. So they're kind of like basically like you could drop them into like an Imperial Guards person, a guardsman, in fact, if you're fab, and they look perfectly fine. Like they've got like some like fine scale, and then they've got pulp scale, and then heroic scale as well. But so I picked up some of the older heroic scale ones and put them on my Primarch Marines. And then didn't get kicked out of Warhammer World for using third-party parts, which is like, apparently in like the terms of service that you can't use anything that's not GW in Warhammer World.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's pretty draconian.
But they have put out some more heads that are kind of the correct scale. Like so, like 40k's 28mm heroic scale is like meaningless. It's just like they look cool and don't think too hard about scale because it doesn't work. But with the kind of heads that I've used and some of the listeners have used, it looks a bit weird when you kind of like put them on because you're like, man, their heads look really small compared to a normal Space Marine head from GW. But if you kind of consider like what would a normal head look like if you imagine a world where you'd never seen a Space Marine with its weirdly massive head for its body, it kind of looks normal. But when you compare it to like actual like standard kit parts, they look kind of small. But they put out some new ones that look a lot better, I think.
Yeah, I think the ones that we looked there, the statuesque heroic scale, female heads, Technoroiders.
Yeah, I think they're very kind of like Yeah, they're way more sci-fi than the ones I've got. I've got ones that have
bionic
like
eyes and
just like normal kind of hairdos, and so some of them have berets, but like these have kind of like cool dreads or like.
Do they wear the berets correctly?
I mean, they're space berets. They can wear them however they want.
Well, we had that Eve controversy. There were space.
We did have
berets
the
as
Eve
well.
controversy, which was like, man, but what if they're in space and it's fine? But they've got some cool ones that also kind of like fit Sisters of Silence and Sister of Battle, which is kind of cool. I think the heroic scale ones like look too big on God's people. But that's probably just because they're trying to match the normal scale and it doesn't really make any sense anyway. But they're really cool. Like, people should totally buy these and use them because they're just rad.
and I think sorry if I've I think there is sort of a groundswell now where if Gamesworks have wanted to sort of be progressive on this and sort of catch it, they really could, because the way they introduced the Primarch Marines was that, you know, Belisarius Cawl had been sitting on it for 10,000 years. So, I mean, it's not a stretch to go, this is the next, you know, step in secret stuff that has been going
he's
on.
already in a kind of like kind of in-universe arguments are inherently shitty because fundamentally, like, we're better than that and we can write our own stories.
Well, sorry, what? What? In-universe
Just
arguments
because-
are the only ones that count. Lore, mate.
Oh, here we go. Here's the thing. But, like, in universe, he's already committed, like, heresy, essentially, by altering the Emperor's perfect structure of a warrior by making them different.
Dude,
so, like, why not just make them, like, also have...
I don't think... Okay, tell me if I'm wrong, right? But I honestly always got the impression that the problem was... Oh, no, my computer's making noises, sorry. I always got the impression that the problem wasn't that it was heresy, that it wasn't biological...
oh, yeah, but that's like the thing someone wrote in a rule book in the 1980s.
Yes, so it's law now. Get used to it.
But like,
What's your problem with that?
Oh, I mean, Fab, the police have turned up to take you away.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think
Holy
that,
fucking
that,
shit, this
that
is
turning
straight
up
jacket
on
for
your
Fab.
end,
They're just,
mate.
like,
That turning is
sarcastically-
not a German
Yeah.
police siren.
So like, we always make concessions to changes Games Workshop makes because we're like, oh,
No.
okay, no,
don't.
we are no. So we're like, okay, Centurions. The new models came out, and now we have to pretend that we've always had Centurions. And the weird little flyers turned up. Oh no, we've actually always had them. We just never mentioned them in stories previously. Like, the very fact that they put out new models.
That
you
is
have to retcon them into the world.
you have a very good point. I take that point. You're completely right on that.
I win an argument. Yes.
Yes.
My question is just why do we have to have that? Okay, seriously,
Representation
I
matters.
really like sisters, right? And I've been saying ever since we were talking about Warhammer, I've been saying I want better sisters models. I want plastic. You know, why aren't they like developing those?
Because
That wouldn't that like be?
I mean, it would be cool if they did that, but like, I mean, and there's a kind of a Bayonetta style sex positive feminism thing to be like, yeah, that's totally cool. You can do that as well.
No, but
Yeah,
why,
Fab, I'm liberal, but equally,
why wouldn't they just say they could say, okay, if you're a sister of battle, you do that in your teen years, and that is your sort of preparation to become a Primaris Marine, for example.
Yeah,
you know,
Dave,
something.
I mean,
Dave,
honestly, like
my
so, like,
mom is liberal in the actual word, and she would take offense at what you had.
Yeah, that's almost like times change. But like, so they're doing it with Stormcast. Like, it's very slow. Like, it is a weirdly slow business where there's a big lead up to like making things. So like, molds for models are made like 9 months in advance. Like, even more than that, they're planning releases well ahead. Like, there's like Stormcast women, which is pretty cool. They're not exactly like easy to get. I think there's like 2 or 3 models, but like there's like basically I feel since like Age of Sigmar and 8th edition, like, it's got popular with more than just, like, the normal...
but Age of Sigmar is exactly the problem. The lore is absolutely shit. They nuked the good lore and replaced it with a bunch of crap. I don't want that to happen to 40k.
But, like, by all accounts, it's, like, far more successful than Fantasy was. It's attracted, like, a much, like, sort of wider base of fans.
Remember the shareholders,
Mate,
Fab? The shareholders
so
are
is
happy.
Monopoly. Doesn't mean it's a better game.
I mean, Monopoly is arguably a better game than 40k.
What?
Like, 40k is a very negative gameplay experience.
You, mate, have
Oh,
never
Fab,
played. You have never played Monopoly with my dad. Where basically, when you play Monopoly with my dad, it's my dad wins because it's a shit game.
No, man, because like as a kid, we played in Monopoly, and we like added like whole extra game mechanics.
Yeah,
about,
because
like,
it's a shit game.
No, because we were like, man, this is good, but we've like played it so much, we're gonna play it more. Like we're gonna invent loans and repayments and
What I'm
interest.
saying here is because something is popular and sells well doesn't mean it's good, right? The Nissan Panda sells well. It's a shit car. The Vauxhall Vectra sells well. Doesn't mean it's a good car.
But it'll be fine. We'll just all
Can you
live
tell
in our
me
wonderful.
watching Grand Tour?
I can tell. It's a shit show. We can all just like move on. We'll have our women who are Space Marines. We don't care. It's cool. It's great. And then you'll be like, I don't
Dave,
like it, and you won't buy it. And
Can
it'll
you
be fine.
change your last
We'll all
name
be
to
happy.
Hammond? Can you change your last
No,
name so that I can say, Hammond, you're an idiot.
I hate the Grand Tour with a passion.
It is amazing.
Because it's like, it's so not. It's literally every episode is basically like, remember Top Gear. And I'm like, I do remember Top Gear. I remember like my entire childhood of Top Gear. They are making the same jokes now as they did when I was like 4 years old.
But
But at least you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Cool. They crash cars. That's great. Fantastic. Like, I can just watch a man with a hydraulic press on YouTube. Like, it's...
You're just an enemy of fun, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm very much a fan of fun. I just, like, I'm very bored of, like, Richard Hammond. Very bored of Clarkson. And James May's just sort of there. Like, James May... like, Jeremy Clarkson basically has made a living of, like, making shit TV, writing terrible books. Having two
He's
like
living
annoying
the dream,
friends.
mate. He's living the
I don't
dream.
care. He's not living the dream. It's not. I don't want to like. Cool. He gets to go around with his friend who keeps almost killing himself in sports cars. Like
It's amazing.
Like,
He's kind of like the high priest of lad culture, isn't he?
Yes.
You know?
He is,
yeah,
and I
it's
hate that.
yeah.
I just want James May. I just want James May to be like, I'm gonna go get some nicer friends because what he did, he went with Oz Clarke, who writes about wine and food, and he went on a booze cruise, and they talked about wine for like 6 weeks, and it was fucking brilliant. It was infinitely better.
Mate, I
than
have news
Top
for
Gear.
you. People don't want to see nice people on TV.
You know what? Fuck people who don't want to see nice people. I want to see nice people. I want nice people. I'm very glad we can have women as Space Marines. It's great.
We can't. It's heresy.
We can. I have, and you can't take that away from me.
but you're
the whole
a
point of
heretic.
40k is we tell our own stories, and my stories are progressive and cool, despite being weird Catholic Nazi Space Marines.
Cool.
And
You
this
know
might
what?
be why
they're assholes, but they're assholes equally.
And it might be why they're sort of being quiet on the Systems of Battle, because they know that was their counterweight in the past, and now they have to kind of.
It's a better counterweight. They look great. I love the design. They're great.
No,
Sorry,
you
I
think
really
they
love
look
them.
great,
Yes.
right? You think they look great, and then like maybe that's you also think
I am
other Space
right.
Marines are great. I don't think you are, fam.
I also
think
say
they look
it's
alright.
not the lieutenant.
You're wrong, because no one can infer that from the letters that are written on the page.
Welcome to any language. Have you tried to speak German?
No. Well, yes,
Good.
it doesn't go well.
Have you tried speaking French?
Yeah, but
Maybe
we
we-
can just because. Oh my god! Just because like something is one way now doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. Like we can't just like stagnate. Like
That's
sure.
right, but we're human, and so it will be like that.
No, it won't,
so
'cause
my
we're
thing
humans,
is
so we
actually
change.
the thing I wanted to say is your the goal you want to reach, I can respect the whole representation thing. The thing is, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because
everyone like you in the community would women,
because
get
Katie
out.
isn't going to start playing Warhammer because they have women heads on Space Marines. She looks at that stuff and she goes, I'm not 8 years old in my mind, in my brain. I'm a normal person.
The
I'm
aim
going to do
isn't to
normal
get
stuff.
everyone everywhere into it. The aim is to find a balance of like people who are like, oh man, this game looks cool, but all of the fans are really annoying mouth breathing neckbeards who fetishize all the models.
Nerdy guys are going to be like that, but it's never going to happen. It's never sorry. I
think it will. I think we try it and we see what happens.
Why did it happen in comics then, or in movies?
There we go. Bingo. Suddenly, Wonder Woman happens and loads of women turn up to see a superhero film. It literally happened. Black Panther happened. Suddenly,
great.
a non-shit black superhero.
Now we have all
then everyone turns up. Now we
have all the women wasting their time on shit movies as well.
Here we go. So move in the goalposts. Move in the goalposts. The thing I don't like is terrible because I don't like it. That's exactly what you say there.
No, I'm saying
it is. It literally is. You're like,
I'm saying
look at these other people enjoying themselves.
It's terrible because you like it.
I mean, that is true. I will give you that. If I like something, it probably is terrible.
I just think it ain't gonna happen. I think
it will.
It's like trying to get. I had the same thing with Linux, right? It's like trying to get. I believed in this when I was younger. 10 years ago, I actually did believe in this. I thought that you could get people to use Linux because it was better and more sensible. But there is people
are better or more sensible. Yeah.
Well, I thought that. But even if it was, people are not going to use it because of that. They use Windows because of anyway. Yeah. Update.
That's apples and oranges, isn't it? But anyway,
update. Pro7 has now called me disrespectful. To which I have said, so they're saying this isn't better. It's also not right, and it's disrespectful. To which I have said, disrespectful. I'm just old school. Have you complained to Wikipedia? And I quoted the German Wikipedia page on Pro7 who says Pro7, spelled out, often stylized as Pro7 with a 7, and then it says that they were actually founded as Pro7 with a 7. So this is why I spell them like that, because that's how they were founded in 1989.
Fabian Schechel, the man who complains that board games aren't board games unless there is a board.
I fucking hate board games. Let's not get started on this.
I think it will be an interesting journey in our podcasting career to follow this argument over the years.
I think it's good.
See what happens.
Yes, I think you're right. This will it will change. I'm saying it will. It'll change really interestingly. Like Dave is gonna get older. He's gonna get jaded. He's gonna come around to my point. At which point I'll get old and senile, and I'm gonna start being. On Dave's side then, like on that old. Anyway.
Yeah, so like in 10 years' time, when we're on like episode many, I'll be complaining that I don't know.
I think Fab will get to the age where he realizes he needs to repent a bit before he passes.
Fab's gonna go super. He's gonna go super sane. He's gonna be like a social justice super saiyan.
I'm gonna drive Dave. Literally
this is gonna be the
up
thing.
The wall. Because I will be old. Yes, I will be old, and I'll literally be Clarkson in 15 years.
Oh, what you're gonna be doing is gonna be assaulting producers, generally being a child.
Yes.
Yeah, getting kicked out of the BBC for being a bell end. Yeah, exactly. I knew it. Everyone was like, that walking stick. He's fucking terrible.
And then I'll get a series on Amazon, and I'll be set for life.
Well, no, because you hate Amazon. No, it's fine. So, Mike,
I hate Amazon. I live from it.
Last week we mentioned lieutenants or lieutenants.
Lieutenants, you're British for fuck's sake.
It's lieutenants. I don't care. To be fair, I literally get this shit every time I play Warhammer. with the guys from like Sheffield.
To be fair, you're from Wales. You're hardly.
They all call them lieutenants, and I'm just there like, no, it's lieutenants because it's see the letters on the page. It's lieutenants. But you were saying that Blood Angels can take lieutenants, and that they were like normal Blood Angels. I thought they were literally only invented for Primarch Marines.
Yeah, so basically, in the Blood Angels Codex, and I assume also in the Space Marine Codex, I don't have that, so take my
Is this
word
like
with a grain of salt.
the current codex or like the 7th edition?
So in the current, the 8th edition Blood Angels Codex, you can have normal Space Marine lieutenants and Primarch lieutenants, which is really, really awesome because normal lieutenants can have jump packs, right? And that means
because like only like the aggressors have kind of weird jump pack things, but like lieutenants,
Inceptors.
Sorry,
the Inceptors have
Primaris. Like no other Primaris can have.
I want to point something out, right? My whole lieutenant thing is seriously not to piss you guys off. You know what? You know what the problem is?
What?
I learned English as a second language. All the bullshit that's normal for you. It's just like I had to learn that. I had to, I learned English, and then there's this thing called the lieutenant, and then somebody told me, no, look, in the UK we call them lieutenants, and in the UK, in the US they call them lieutenants, and I had to put that in my brain, and now it's in my brain.
Yep.
I feel like
can I intercede? Because
Mike also did this.
You know it is the French origin, right? And having dabbled a bit in French, in my head it is lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
Right? Yeah.
This thing.
So
because
and that's he's the second in command. He is taking the space in place of his commander.
Like tenant in lieu.
Oh, in lieu. That's where it comes from. That's great.
Potentially. It's very vague because like if you go kind of like the French way, that appears to be where the word came from. But equally, I think British people stole the word a long time ago and then just fucked it up on their own independently. So there's no like one truth of like where that came from, because I was like researching this, like what the fuck is this, because I was like I read it as lieutenant and I'm almost certain I learnt lieutenant from MASH on TV as a kid. So like I learnt like the American way straight away.
Same for me.
So yeah, I've always like a tenant in lieu like at least makes internal sense to me.
A tenant.
Yeah, like because they were left in charge when like the captain or higher up left. I don't know. It makes some semblance of sense rather than lieutenant. I have no idea. But again, a lieutenant is like, who knows?
Oh, you cut out there.
Oh, for fuck's sake, no!
So, just behind the scenes, during this episode, I deployed some German experimental software that is that's supposed to be radio quality audio links over the internet, so that
radio engineering,
so that Dave wouldn't cut out, and he's still cutting out.
Fucking Dave.
Okay, so like since we started the podcast,
it's the SJW filter. It's
I have replaced my internet connection. I have replaced my router. I have replaced the means by which I like physically connect to the router. I have replaced the PC, literally everything except the graphics card. The only thing I have not changed is the microphone. So like every other piece of hardware between me and the internet service provider has been changed.
Have you changed your operating system?
Yeah, so I've always been using Windows 10.
I've heard Linux is pretty good.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I have, but I have reinstalled the operating system as well.
Okay, I have bad news for you. You have to move to Hamburg.
No!
Hey, it's nice and cold here.
Okay, I guess you get snow.
You'll still be in the EU.
Let's move to Hamburg straight away. Yeah,
so
I think we completely went into a warren there, not even a rat hole, but an actual rat warren.
Fucking coal mine
of holes.
I'm
not sure where we are.
I'm just getting a kick out of having a fight with the German major German television network on Twitter while I'm recording the podcast.
I can see it's getting spicy there on Twitter. Yeah,
nice.
Spicy emoji. I'm gonna start retweeting it and just saying spicy, even though I'm relying on Bing's translations to understand them.
So good. Use DeepL.
Yeah, DeepL's really good, but like
DeepL's
it doesn't
really
have
good.
Twitter integration, so I'm
Yeah,
too lazy.
I have to talk to them. They're from Germany.
Huh?
From Cologne. This is not a luge, but now we're gonna anyway talk about Divinity Original Sin 2, the video game with one of the worst names in video games. Because as we've pointed out more than once, there can't be two original sins.
So I think there's actually a game that has the worse name.
Well,
it's
Divine
called-
Divinity was pretty bad.
I Divine Cybermancy.
What?
So it's
That's
like
not even grammatically right.
so it's E.Y.E.
What?
Divine Cybermancy. It's just like
I
this
have to
weird
Google
first-person shooter thing that came out in like 2012 or
Oh,
something.
I as in
Yeah,
I
as in like I, but like the E is backwards.
I-
if you read the, it's just it makes no sense.
I thought
And,
it was I as in me, me
no,
divine.
like I as in
Oh, it's not
someone's
even
eye.
it's not even the Y. It's like a Greek.
yeah,
God, what is that?
except it's not because when you write it in text, it's the Y. So it's not as bad as I Divine Cybermancy, but it came out, and by all accounts, Divinity is fucking brilliant.
Oh yeah.
So, Mike, you've been playing it?
Yeah, so I've had some sessions with my friends from Denmark, and in the past we would have played Dungeons and Dragons, Cyber, whatever it's called, I've forgotten the name now, but you know, different genres of role-playing games.
There's a cyber.
Shadowrun?
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun, yeah. For all my friends are gonna kill me.
Like
I
Shadowrun
know.
Returns, like the video game.
Yeah, same
Shadowrun,
universe, right?
Yeah, Shadowrun is actually a quite old role-playing game, sort of back from the 80s.
I think it-
Yeah, I
It-
was. Were you playing video game or were you playing pen and paper?
It's kind of in the future where you can sort of just hook into the grid, you know, with you know,
Yeah, I know the game.
Plug
Now,
in your
were you
armor,
playing
yeah.
a pen and paper game or a video game?
the pen and paper. So we did pen
right,
and paper
okay.
role-playing Shadowrun, which was really cool as well. So those guys have done different things with them, and we've also done online role-playing where we have like a game master sort of software, and then we sort of do pen and paper, but online. So this is kind of our first foray into doing like a story-based role-playing game where we have characters and sort of co-op our way through it. And yeah, we've had some great sessions already. Obviously, we're still sort of in the sort of first act, and our characters are not that strong at the moment. But
So you're playing it as a you know, the cooperative way.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we're 4 people, and I've selected one of the sort of the pre-made characters, while the others have sort of made custom ones. The only thing about selecting a pre-made character is that there's a little bit more storyline that you can tag into as you go along, but it's not a sort of major game changer in that sense.
And like if you make your own character, you get to like experience all the other like written characters, like voice, like dialogue options, like voiced versions. Because
yeah, I think yeah.
if you play as them, at least like, unless I've been doing something terribly wrong, which is plausible, if you say play as the Red Prince, like when you hit like the text option to be like the Red Prince, like you don't get to hear that option, like the voice acting of it, it just like sort of happens, and then like the next line of dialogue happens, which like is a bit of a shame. So like I re-rolled my character to be a custom character, so I could kind of like talk to everyone else and get everyone else's like voiced dialogue lines. I know you can kind of like, because like this was the thing that like blew my mind, is that you can play as the other characters. It's like, I was kind of like, I'm me, and everyone else is like just this NPC who's along for the ride. But like the idea that you could swap who the main person you're kind of like walking around with, just like blew my mind. Like, oh shit, no, like if I make this guy really good at like bartering, I'll give all my items to that character before I go sell them, and then like get more money back, because like he's the one interacting with the vendor.
I think that's a new thing. They that's one of the innovations, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry.
But
if
this is
people
games.
will hear in the end. They will hear my computer making noises. I'm still fixing that. Sorry. Keep on talking. Sorry.
Yeah. So like that kind of like whole, just that little thing blew my mind because like I've played pen and paper role playing games and they're really fun, but like I've never played like the kind of video game simulation of them, like Neverwinter Nights and stuff like that. I've never really played those. And suddenly I was like, whoa, this is actually really quite good because all of the admin. This is like a common complaint I feel I kind of end up making, in that like there are a lot of games out there that people play and design, which I feel are just like begging for the computer to do all the work for you. So like there's lots of board games that I don't like playing because I'm like, no, this is why we invented computers, because there's all of these random like fucking dials and like tokens and things to keep track of things. And kind of like role-playing games give you the kind of narrative freedom of like the GM giving.
This is why I mostly don't play board games, because I think, isn't this why we invented computers, so I can have video games?
So I guess we have like different thresholds of it, but like I can point you to some board games that even I'm like, no, this is fucking bullshit. But like that kind of role-playing games give you the narrative freedom to do whatever you want. So like the GM says like, okay, cool, we have to infiltrate this thing, and then me and my party sort of decide actually combat's a terrible idea because we're all actually politicians. So what we're going to do is we're going to like start a shell company and sort of like play the stock market kind of to kind of gain influence over the other entity or whatever. But all of the kind of mechanics of that, of like dice rolls and remembering like inventory and all that sort of stuff, like I always feel like computers do better. And that's kind of like where Divinity is kind of a little bit best of both worlds, because you've got like this really cool story that you want to engage with, and as far as I can tell, it's like ridiculously like well done. Like you can kill arbitrary people, it would appear, and like the story will still probably carry on. And yeah, it's just really good, except I get the big town fear, which mentioned in the Crate and Crowbar, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it here, in that I just panic. Like it happens in Mass Effect, it happens in like every game where there's like, I know there are conversation options, and I like have this just innate fear that I will miss something, and it doesn't even have to be important. It could just be like a cool line of dialogue, and I'm just scared that I'm gonna miss it if I do something wrong. So like I have played like the opening act like 3 or 4 times, just because like, no, I definitely did something. I clearly did something wrong here. I missed this like quest line and I fucked it up. I've got to do it again because I didn't complete it. And
so I guess that's where Mike's approach of having friends with him helps, because they wouldn't put up with that shit, presumably.
Well, you say that, but it's interesting. Have you tried doing pen and paper role playing?
Not much.
Okay, because
I've never been a big pen and paper role playing guy. I was
the thing
always
is,
much into computer games at home and not having friends.
Because you had, that's very sad.
No, I was happy.
Okay. The main thing about the pen and paper stuff is that obviously you have the game master, and as you say, the game does that for you on the computer. So the game master's rolling dice and sort of taking care of stuff behind the scenes. And as you say, Dave, the story sort of trees are very intricate in Divinity. So you have a lot of freedom and can sort of decide if you want to be a bastard or sort of try and play along with the storyline, or be very, very nice and, as you say, try and not ruffle feathers or whatever. It's kind of, sometimes you will get shoehorned into fights and stuff like that, which is, that's what stories are like. Sometimes even if the protagonists are nice, they will still have to face adversity or fights or whatever. But the thing is, if you're in a group, there will always be a dynamic, and I think the last few games we've had have been very symbolic of that, because what happens is, we all have our sort of preferences, right? So I'm the guy that sort of walks around and I look at every flower and every placard and, there's something interesting here. And I kind of sort of I tend to wander off sometimes because, there's a lot of interesting things to look at and maybe there's somebody you can talk to or maybe you'll find a hidden cave or something like that. And then meanwhile, my friends will sort of have done the more sort of power play thing where they just go, okay, we have to go there in order to do this, and they have a plan. And it happened a few times already where I'm like, guys, where are you? And there's somewhere else in the map. Well, it's more like I didn't keep up. Well, you could say it from different, but basically, like awesome. Last week I was in a cave where. My friends had said there are these fire slugs in here, but they're not going to attack you. We just go past them. You just talk to them and they don't attack you. And so that was fine. And I was sort of walking around this cave and looking at these fire slugs, sliding along. And instead of leaving a trail of slime, they were leaving a trail of fire. And I was very impressed with it. Ooh, it looked nice, and all of a sudden, one of them started talking to me, but I couldn't understand what it was saying because I didn't have the bloody skill to actually talk to it while one of my friends did, right?
That skill, the talking to animal skill is probably the most key thing for me because there are cats and there are dogs and you can talk to them, and if you don't talk to them, you've missed like the entire point of the game. And I'm like, oh god, I can't keep going.
I don't know if you missed the entire point of the game, but I think there are a lot of choices, and every choice is
dialogue you miss out on.
I don't know. Did Char write that? Because like I'm still torn up about literally the first time I played Divinity, and I made friends with a cat, and it followed me around, and then it got killed, and I felt so bad.
Like, we're still protecting our cat and we have a cat that follows us and we're still protecting it.
Isn't there like an achievement or something you get if you end the game with the cat?
I hope there is, because like it's like in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 there was the gnome that like if you carried it from the first level to the last level you got a meaningless achievement. And I never did it because it was just like, holy shit, that's way too much effort. But like it feels like, protect the cat till the end and it'll be important. Probably won't be, but I'll just be pleased. Yeah.
Like, so with the fire slugs, right? I had no clue what this thing was saying to me, but the dialogue was telling me that I was getting increasingly agitated because I wasn't obviously doing what it did. I wasn't doing what it wanted me to do, and the guys were on team chat with me going like, just talk to it and you can go past it. I'm like, no, it's getting aggressive, right? And then basically it just attacked me and firebombed me, and I was left in a crispy pile of bones, on the ground there, and the guys were like, what happened, And that's the thing, like it's a very, very intricate game on some levels where the character you have, yes, they will be good at something, and you experience the game the first time you play it through their eyes and the way they interact with it. Then you change to a different character or you start with another group and it's a completely different game, if you change into a different character. And like the guys I play with, they've done a few runs themselves in the same startup, and sometimes they kind of forget as well if it was that game or the other game. And then it all begins to get a little bit so like in the last session we had, we were a bit more sort of organized, where they were like, okay, where's Michael, should we talk to these guys, and let's line up and all that, because also the way you go into a fight, which is very realistic actually, if you have put yourself in a compromised position from the start, you are done for. Like, if you think you're gonna fight, choose your positioning and your buffs and everything extremely well, because here you get bonuses for being in an elevated position if you shoot with ranged weapons. The surface you're walking on can affect the damage that you get. If you're walking on water, somebody can freeze it and you slide along and slip, or you can, if you're near a barrel with oil or something, they can make it explode, things like that. You have to look at everything around you, because nearly anything can be used against you, or you can use it against your enemies.
Yeah, I think
so
Katie started playing it, and I think that's what we both agreed on. I think we we both agree on that it's too hard. Like for us, like we can't deal with that. It's just too much going on, too much exploding.
I mentioned this like previously, and then since then I've rolled a character on the easiest difficulty, and I am still finding it really hard because it feels like the AI is kind of like brute forcing like every possible scenario, like every action it could take, and then picking the one that fucks me over the most. Yeah, so it might be like, and then I like walk over here for no reason, and then I attack this barrel, and then oil goes everywhere.
Isn't that what
and then,
we invented computers for?
It is, but like I don't think that necessarily makes it for an enjoyable experience. Where I'm like, I am terrible at video games. Please stop like comboing your things of like this character hits the barrel, oil goes everywhere. Now the oil's on fire because of like this thing, and now all my party is on fire. I'm like, piss. I am so bad at this game.
But I have to say,
I want like a story mode where I can just be like, and I entered combat,
it
and
has
I
a
won the
story
combat.
mode, but it's still hard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I want like a Mass Effect story mode of like literally the combat is skipped because I'm too bad at it.
I don't want to skip it because like the combat is a bit of it's part of the game, right?
Yeah, but I'm very bad at it, and it's stopping me progressing.
Right. So I think that too, but I still want to experience it. I just want it be so easy that I just like win, so that I'm like the hero. You know, I'm so good at this game.
Like it's got all those kind of like things you kind of always want from RPGs, where it's like, can you avoid the combat with social skills? And quite a lot of the time you can. More like, so there's like very very early on. There's like some gamblers doing some gambling up the top of like a tower or something.
Yes.
You can like, if you fuck up the conversation, like you'll fight them. But if you like just like blag your way, they don't fight you. But then, so which is kind of good because I'm like, sweet, I didn't have to fight them, so I didn't like die 3 times. But equally, then I'm like, but I don't feel like I could have got like more loot and like experience and stuff, which ultimately is a good thing because it makes me better at the game. But if I just talk to them, I don't get better. Like I don't like make my character better. I don't get better loot. All I did was avoid some combat, so I kind of like I feel like there's some min-max. What I'm saying is that this game is so good, I'm questioning like myself and how I play games. And it's not a good thing I'm seeing in the mirror. I'm seeing a very compulsive min-maxer, which I don't like.
I really have to fix this audio setup because we're using something that's using the browser. I now get all the Chrome tabs playing. Sorry.
Oh no!
Just had Clarkson interrupting you.
Oh, fucking Clarkson!
Because I'm researching stuff on the side.
This is in inverted commas. Clarkson interrupting Dave. This is Fab replacing me with Jeremy Clarkson.
He's
just sending him DMs
ever.
like, "Hey Jeremy, I do this podcast with this other English guy. He's also really tall, but he's not as like, I don't know, conservative as you. So please come on the podcast."
That seems to be the evening for spicy takes. We'll start a Twitter war with the Grand Tour as well.
Don't have fear. I'm not replacing you, Dave. It's all good. I'll have Clarkson interrupt you from time to time. That would be funny.
But the way it works for our team is that we're quite happy to do the tactical combat because that's what we've done before, and we like it. And there's
so
something
I just
for everyone.
need you on my team. Is that what you're saying?
Just give Mike the mouse and keyboard, but like, okay, I'm in combat now.
No, but the thing is, like, there's a couple of guys who like the mechanics, and they will be religiously reading up on the opponents as the fight unfolds and see how much shield they've left, how much magical armor they've left, and they know that when there's so and so much left of each of the armors, then you can start using your spells because they'll penetrate rather than getting deflected and things like that, and they have all of that under control. And I'm a little bit there going like, whoosh, it's just going over my head. But they're part of the team. Sometimes they'll tell me, oh, Mike, wait with using your thing because they can see when I'm loading up a spell, your character starts doing whatever, on the ground, they can see that I'm gonna use like ricochet or barrage or something, like a ranged attack, and then they go, oh, just do your normal attack because there's still more shield than this guy. And I was like, oh yeah, so we kind of complement each other, and they have me sort of whining about having to spend a bit more time talking to people or something because I want to see the story, right, which sometimes they don't care that much about. But so we're sort of a well-balanced group, I think, and there's something for everyone. But I can see if you're sitting there on your own, and it can probably feel a little bit overwhelming. I agree to that, because there's a lot of choice, and if you're not entirely sure when you turn one dial what that's gonna do in the world, I can see that the complexity of it could be a little bit scary, but depends on your background. Yeah, if you've done a lot of role-playing games and you like the mechanics, it's a shoe fit, But,
when you're playing, when you're doing the combat, are you like, how much are you like talking to everyone else in terms of like thinking it like? So obviously, like when I'm playing the combat, I was like, it's me on my own, and I'm kind of like vaguely attempting to plan what everyone's doing and hoping it goes for the best. And I probably don't spend enough time because there's no one to kind of like query me and say, no, Dave, that move's bullshit, don't do that. Like, are you talking about like how you will, like what abilities you have and like what you can do right now, or are you kind of free forming it and be like, fuck it, I'm doing this thing, like.
Well,
how's that going for you? How are you handling like the inevitable, like, oh shit, I burst a barrel and now there's fire everywhere. Can we reload, please? How do you handle that?
We've done that a few times, but there was one instance here when we played yesterday where there's one guy, he had done this interaction with some elves that lived in a cage. There's a certain one of them who's kind of a seer or something that has sort of mystical powers, and he had previously said to one of the other guys, your character will tick her off because you're possessed. So the moment you get into the cave and you get near her, she'll sense that you're possessed, and you'll go through a confrontation with her.
Oh yeah, that's the possessed lady is what's her name again?
Lose.
Ah, yeah, she's great. Yeah. She's great.
Yeah. Does she look a bit like Char? I think. I'm not sure.
I've thought that.
Yeah, I'm sort of half thinking that maybe Lose is Char, but anyway, my friend then had kind of forgotten that he had been told that there would be a confrontation, and we went into this cave to just go through the motions through the interaction with them. But then the confrontation happened, and then the friend had kind of forgotten about it. He just sort of went a bit further ahead, and then we were fighting these elves, and we were trying to say, don't shoot any of them, because I had been part of the conversation as Ifan, the lone wolf sort of mercenary guy.
Char's character. Ifan,
exactly, the one that she wrote. So. Yeah. So I had said in the interaction that I would try and get Lose knocked down so she wouldn't fight the elves, and we would kind of do it like that. But then he went ahead and attacked the elves, and then they made them hostile to all of us, and basically we were left with having to kill them all, basically. And then we had the save had been done half an hour earlier. We didn't have any other, and we were all sitting there going like, okay, well, right, we'll move on. But, and these things will happen, right? So that's what I mean. Like the group dynamics, they can be good sometimes, but the same feller who I have a lot of affection for, he's called Mikkel, and he's a great guy. And in this game, he seems to be a little mischievous because he's beginning to figure out the little sort of things you can do. So we're talking to the guy that he's the undead guy that Ethan meets up with, and he gives him a nice crossbow and things like that. But he's also a trader, right? So we were sort of trading a bit with him. And then Mikkel went, oh, I can see he has a lot of money. I can pickpocket him. I think I can. Let's just pickpocket him, And we were like, no, because we have to talk to him again. And Mikkel, like don't. And and then that became his thing. Like he was always looking at people, going like, I can take him. I'll take him, guys, because we can get more money like that, And then he ended up sort of pickpocketing this guy Salazar, or whatever his name was, after we had sort of finished our interaction with him, and he told us to go away so he could pickpocket him, and then he ran, and he did actually get 1,100 gold coins out of his pockets. But of course he started running around looking for whoever had taken his money because he hadn't seen him. And these things will happen, I think, where somebody just takes a notion, and then the dominoes just start falling if you do a thing,
That's
which
cool.
I think is it's a really, really well put together game. I've never played anything to this level of complexity, and I have to say, Larry and Studis, they've seen to really have found a magic formula, I think, for role playing on this level.
So I think I'm resigned to the fact that for me, as a single player, Pillars of Eternity is the better game. The combat is tactical, but it's not as tactical, right? So it's not as tactical as Divinity, and that already gets me to my edge. Like Divinity is just, I can't handle that. And I just like the general, maybe not even the character writing, but the general all-around story a bit better. So what I find really interesting about Divinity is I don't have people to play this with remotely. Also, I don't have that's not. It sounds again like I have no friends. The problem mainly is my work time and stuff. I barely get time for multiplayer games.
Yeah, scheduling this stuff.
It's just scheduling. I got time, but I don't have time when other people have time.
Yeah.
Because being a lazy journalist,
you don't know when the time is, because I have people at work who want to play World of Warships with me for 4 weeks, and we've not managed to do it. And we see each other every day.
Or I have the thing where I don't want to schedule it because I feel 2 days ago I might have felt tonight I'm okay with that, but then I have this day from hell, and I really don't want to deal with people, so that's my problem. But what I really find interesting, and I've played around with this a bit, but I want to look into it. So the whole other thing that Divinity has is this Game Master mode, where you can basically use all the parts they've used to construct the game, and make basically pen and paper role-playing sessions with your friends of the internet. Just you
with an actual GMing.
Yes,
well,
so it's functionally a pen and paper session, except that you can use it remote, and you create the level, right? So you create a world, which for me makes pen and paper a lot easier. It's not that I don't have enough imagination, but it's that just makes it grounds it somehow.
Constraining the problem even slightly helps you kind of get it done, because you could right now, we could all write our own campaigns for some arbitrary system, but if we don't have constraints, the kind of God, it's like when you go to a supermarket and there's an aisle of beer, and sweet, there are 50 beers here, I have no idea what I want. But if they were suddenly well, now there's 5, and the choice is a lot easier. If you're suddenly okay, it's now constrained, it's kind of medieval-ish magical fantasy land, rather than I could pick anything. It's something that's a lot easier.
The difference is that if you're doing pen and paper and you present 50 beers, your players might go and actually choose champagne, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
But so in the game, hopefully they can't do that. They can't.
That's the thing.
This Divinity game is now not a sci-fi. It's definitely Divinity-ish. So I'd be up for that, because I've looked into. So there's a guy at work, and he DMs games. He DMs D&D and stuff. With random people from the internet, he just had a forum or whatever.
And
he's
I want
players to come play this game, and he writes the story, and I'm just but how do you know what to do? I have had very, very limited experience with DMing the Dark Heresy, and that I kind of felt okay with, because it's a universe I'm so monumentally invested in, and that I could totally answer any of the questions they had. I had a story planned out, but if they went and did other things, I knew how the universe worked. But how do you do that
work,
in something?
Dave. It doesn't work. Gav Torvus just said it, and Aaron Demsky-Bowden has
No, but
also
you know what I
said
mean? Like,
Warhammer 40k doesn't work.
it doesn't work. No, but at least I would know.
Gav
Like,
from
okay,
the guy who says Dark Angels are traitors.
yeah, it is the guy.
Yeah.
Well, that,
But
that
like,
should,
if-
that
if
should
the-
tell
if-
you that he's completely
If the
wrong.
players like
Of course,
instead of
Imperium works.
if the
No,
players rather than
I'm just joking. Sorry, Dave. Go on.
That's
If
this
the players-
heresy
rather
news.
than-
The heresy news. Radio.
rather than engaging with my story, went and said, actually, we're not going to board the train. We're gonna miss the train on purpose, and we're gonna go to the bar. I could be like,
Yeah.
man, I can describe that bar to you, but like the kind of doing that in a kind of more vague setting of like, hey, it's D&D, where pretty much like anything goes. It's just terrifying. So I feel like I kind of like being able to constrain it in terms of Divinity. And like, actually, there is no more map. Like, you can't go that way because the map says no. Kind of like makes it a lot easier, I feel. Maybe. I could just be vastly simplifying running a campaign in this, but I would totally be up for that. If someone is
it's
okay
like-
with making it fab.
It's been done before. Like there's like with Sword Coast Legends. I
Neverwinter
think,
Nights.
had this.
Neverwinter Nights was the first
Um,
really sort of immersive machine that could be modified, as far as I remember.
But what I've seen from this, well, I haven't used it obviously for that purpose, but what I've seen suggests that they've managed to make it both easy and like also like really good looking, because I think the key here is that they created a ton of assets for this game. I mean, it's obviously just gonna be the environments you see during the game story as well. But those are really well realized, and they have a lot of stuff in there. It looks really cool.
And I, in my early days on the internet, played quite a bit on these Neverwinter Nights servers, where it was exactly the same thing. They used elements that came out of Neverwinter Nights ground game, and there was a bit of customization possible. But these people actually managed to attract a lot of players onto this completely sort of self-made world, and it was the interaction between people that made it. And it will always be like that it depends on the people who are in the world will help shape it. So I promise you that if you set up just even a basic story in a Divinity made environment, but you have the right players, you will get very enjoyable sessions, because they will take whatever they can from the environment and the way the game works to create the story.
That's always the problem, isn't it? Getting the right people.
Yeah. No, but,
And people are shit.
It does happen. That's true. But I can see a lot of it there. That we could maybe explore this in another podcast, because I've noted that there are quite a few people out there now who are DMs for hire, right? And they do this on Patreon or other sort of services like that, where they can be hired to do gaming sessions.
One of the most one of the stuff in podcasting in the last few years I've enjoyed the most was the role playing session that Craig and Crowbar did over Christmas. Where basically one of them, like Chris, DM'd like a Dungeons and Dragons session, and they just recorded it. I'd love to do something like this at some point. I think it was really, really funny. That'd be great with you guys. That'd be
I mean, I'd be totally up for playing that. Like, listening to it, I like quite. I enjoyed it, but like, maybe it's just the way I like listen to podcasts, and that they don't have 100% of my time. Like, I am like commuting, or I'm like at work, like doing fairly like not intensive tasks, or I'm like doing the washing up or whatever. Like, it's a kind of like secondary thing.
I hope people are not like you. Hello, are you giving this your full attention?
But like, I felt like there were times in like the D&D podcast, CNC does D&D, and like I've listened to other things. There's like a Star Wars one that I listened to where they were playing like Edge of Empire, and if you miss something and then sort of carry on and then come back and it's referenced, I feel there's this kind of Very weird disconnect.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I have to
this
rewind.
weird disconnect.
I have to rewind in podcasts. I do that quite.
Yeah, there's this weird disconnect of like, there's this thing that's happened in the world that's super meaningful to the players and the GM, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're referencing, or like really what they're talking about, and like, I am not going to rewound the last hour of the podcast to re-listen to everything to work it out.
And I would do that.
Yeah,
but I'm mad.
So maybe like, I'd be totally for playing that if people are interested.
Well, you don't have to listen to it. You can just
that's the thing. Like, if I'm not having to listen to it and dedicate my like, because if I'm playing it, I'm going to be totally invested in like the thing. So yeah, totally sounds good. There's like
your
various...
party could be named the Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah,
always sticking up for actual warriors like in armor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like totally white knighting it. Yeah,
like I'd be up for social justice warriors if they actually had M16s, you know. I can picture your face perfectly.
would be kind of hard to have a stable working society based on M16 being the going rate for winning an argument.
America works, doesn't it?
And it's going just fine.
I'm just trolling. Yeah. I'm just trolling at this point.
Much like the Imperium, it does not work.
No, it works. Stop with this.
No, it's failing very slowly.
The Imperium, everybody, the Imperium works. Dave, we do not want the Inquisition on our ass. What are you doing?
The Empire
Sorry. Yeah. On brand. The Imperium is fine. Everything is fine. Good. Humanity is great. There we go. Yeah. That's Eisenhorn off our ass.
Death to the Xenos and the Heretic.
The Imperium is fine.
Do not suffer the Xenos to live. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He was released as a Warhammer 40k character.
He was. His rules are apparently pretty good. Like his kind of strength and toughness is 3, so he's not exactly robust. But he's fine cast. Is
he? What?
And he has Cherubale.
Are they still doing Finecast?
So yeah, they are. So for the kind of obviously Forge World is still all resin, but they have their own. They're doing it on a much like larger scale.
That's not Finecast though. That's different resin.
Well, I think it's this. I don't know. It feels like maybe the same-ish resin, but
I think the independent characters have several hour-long discussions about the difference between Finecast.
But like the kind of the characters that aren't going to sell loads of models. So like Rabute Gulliman is in resin from Forge World, but the kind of like Kato Sicarius does not sell many models, so he's in Finecast, so they don't remake the models. They don't remake the molds, so they're kind of shit. And I am sort of with good authority and photos to kind of back it up. A friend has assembled Eisenhorn and has had to use a lot of green stuff to fill in holes and gaps, and I'm like, good thing I didn't buy this. It is because like it's a really fucking cool model. Like it is perfectly capturing the cover of like the first book. But I don't want to deal with that bullshit, and also I'm just never going to use it. Like realistically, like it's not going to get on the table because he's not.
Dave, that is not a reason to decide anything to do with Warhammer. What the hell is wrong with you? If that was our standards, I wouldn't own anything.
I play with a good 70% of the models I own.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
You heretic.
Like I mean, equally, I also have like a massive pile of unpainted models. So like, cool. Like it's fine. I'm just gonna like look at people who've painted things really well and accept that. Man, that's a good paint job. That's a nice model. I didn't paint it myself.
And I feel very liberated now, where I've finally let go of the it must look to this standard or whatever. I'm just gonna. Now I'm painting just. Will it work on a table when we're doing the game? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
totally.
Fine. Just get it out of the machine. No,
I'm here trying to like do like Joe levels of like edge highlighting, and then I hold it at arm's length, and I'm like, man, that looks amazing. and I like put it down and carry on because holy shit, yeah, liberate yourself from the tyranny that is trying to emulate heavy metal.
It's just or even like people, as you know, I've told you about some of my friends in Denmark where they paint to Golden Demon standard, and as much appreciation as I have for that hype here, it's just I can't.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm fine with taking a year for a model that I'm looking at across the room right now.
Yeah. But it's lovely to go and see somebody that actually has skill and time and patience and make something beautiful. And then you go.
Did you just say it's lovely to see somebody who has skill and time and like what bastard's that?
my good friend Pierre, who's actually a listener to this podcast, that's why I name dropped him there earlier.
You've got, mate. You've got skill and time. And fuck you. I'm just envious. Oh God!
Say hi to Pierre. You will meet him in Sweden. He's one of the guys coming.
I didn't say that. Please don't mug me when I'm over there.
He's a policeman, so he'll take good care of you, fam.
Oh God! He's just gonna arrest me as soon as I drive up, like in the biker cut.
Actually, he specializes in IT crime, so you two will have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah,
that's actually that's cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Fab.
So.
Yeah. So. What Fab? What do you think of the Legion of Dave? I'm kind of like skipping ahead.
What are you wrong about now?
What is
Fab,
Legion of Dave?
I don't know what the Legion of I'm kind of like skipping ahead of topic.
What is
like,
the Legion of Dave?
If you click the links, as far as I can tell, this is from my diligent research that I did today, trying to work out what the fuck Legion of Dave is.
Is this the 2D 4D Chan thing?
No, it appears to have entirely come from Twitter. I think there's a Twitter account called Leaky Cheese, Leaky_cheese.
Battle cry Dave's.
Yeah, and I think they created
Traitoris Perditas. The status Traitoris Perditas. Yeah, I'm down with that.
I think the canon is that they're the second Legion. And they're called the Legion of Dave, and they're blue and pink, a bit like how the Crimson Fists are kind of like dark blue and red. And they're all called Dave. And there's
I remember this. I think we talked about this. Didn't we talk about this on Angels of Death?
I think this was there was the thing where Ellie insists that every Space Marine is called Steve.
Okay, no, I think we talked about this. Now, my brain, okay, just bear with me here and remember that I'm very alcohol-addled for years and drinking scotch now. But my brain seems to remember that we came up with this, which probably isn't right.
Well,
maybe.
here's the legit canon background from Leaky Cheese, right? So it's the Legio second, so second Legion, yeah. The Primarch is David Crockett. the battle cry is Dave's with exclamation mark, and then the status is Traitoris Perdita.
I'm done with that.
Yeah, that's probably a very accurate.
Also, the Primarch being Davy Crockett explains why he was like banished or killed or whatever they did to that guy. Those two guys.
Yeah. But yeah, like people like loads of people are painting it. Like friend of the show, Art Stevenson has been painting some. The noob painter has. Dave Eaton has as well. He's been painting some like Forge World Heresy Marines and like properly weathered as well, with some freehand fucking shit
Dave,
as well.
I think this is your next project. I think
it is
by your name alone.
It's incredible. I know,
you're beholden to this.
Can I run them as Blood Angels? Maybe, I don't know. Like
Blood Daves.
Blood Daves? I don't really know because like I'm just continuing copying Mike.
Blood Davies.
In that I'm kind of doing Blood Angels again, because like back in the day I did Flesh Terrors, and I found all those models, and they all look fucking terrible. So I put them in some strip.
He's just retweeted that there's a rumor that Sisters of Battle are in production.
Oh man, there's always a rumor. There's always a rumor. There's always a rumor.
I like that. I like the Chaos Dave Marine with the sign "Dave did nothing wrong."
Yeah. So
I
Legion of
just saw
Dave.
that.
I think we should like continue
This is
to make it a
awesome.
thing
We should.
because it's good. I like it.
Geek News Radio is down with that. I also like the color scheme.
Yeah, it's kind of like a super happy color scheme, but like it works.
That fits you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a happy lad. But yeah, I've been painting some Blood Angels. I painted
Are they called
3
Dave?
Blood Angels.
Are they called Dave?
3.
They're all called Dave. Actually, no, one's called like Lieutenant Tolmiron or whatever. He's the
Lieutenant. Yeah.
He's the
Ooh, you're
lieutenant.
fancy. You bought the fancy.
I got given it for
lieutenant.
Christmas, and it was
Ooh,
like
okay, right.
I was like, fine. I
Sorry.
guess I'm doing Blood Angels now. And yes, I bought some Hellblasters, and the man in the Games Workshop like was very insistent that it was a great deal, because apparently the like Blood Angels box is gonna go away.
Wait, what? Sorry, what? A Games Workshop employee said that a Games Workshop product is a great
I know,
deal.
right?
Do they
Sorry,
understand
spoke to the man
concept
in
of
the shop,
deal?
Yeah,
Allegedly,
he spoke to the man in the shop. Oh,
Allegedly.
bless.
Don't
Oh.
speak to the man in the shop.
all of the Blood Angels. So like right now, like there's like the Primaris Blood Angels kits. Apparently, they're all gonna go away, and you'll have to like buy the standard ones and then spend loads of money on the Blood Angels upgrade kits. So I mean, I feel like I got the good deal here. Yeah, so I've kind of like been
Right.
Guys,
kind of-
can you continue to to do the rest of the podcast by yourselves? Because I've just seen like some images of Sisters of Battle cosplay, and I'll be in my bunk.
Oh, those ones. I know where you're scrolling. It'll be in his bunk. So yeah, I've kind of been doing Blood Angels, and I kind of wanted to know where you are with your you're doing Blood Angels as well. You were doing like a kind of Death Company heavy list with some sort of librarian dreadnought.
That is exactly correct.
How is that
because-
going? Because that was kind of my plan, in that I want to go super heavy, like Death Company, but I kind of
Yes.
want to. I kind of like forgot there was the rule that you actually have to deploy some models. I kind of want everything to be able to deploy from orbit, like have like grav shoot, whatever, deep strike, and basically like everything jump packs and then just like deploy
Right.
things. But you seem to have like a more realistic plan if you have like a Storm Eagle or something.
So what you
Storm
do
Raven.
exactly? 1,500 points,
Yeah.
ungefähr. You have your Storm Raven gunship, which can carry your Death Company dreadnought and a chaplain and 5 jump pack marines, right? All with jump packs. That's exactly what it has space for. So you can put that on the board, and it can fly over and disgorge them, and they can tear up whatever place they want to.
So is that
And
is
then-
the idea that is like you put them in there and then you just
Yeah,
like at
because
the start
that
of the
can
game you just place that model down?
Well,
Because like I thought there was the rule that if you only had flyers left, you lost.
Oh, okay.
Potentially, I think I saw someone on Twitter say that like if you only have
I've
flyers
heard
on the
about
table,
this.
Yeah.
then you
Well,
lose the
I
game.
have to admit,
immediately.
Dave, I haven't thought in those lines of not putting anything down. So
Okay.
obviously, I would have some other Marines, kind of knocking about. But you're totally right. Like the blood Angels Death Company, they are the shiznits right now in this game. Like they really are. Apart from Khorne Berserkers, they are absolutely off the
Yes.
chart.
So
Do
this
not
this
engage
is
with Khorne Berserkers.
this
But
is the
let me-
problem. So my friend Tom, when we got back into 40k, he decided that Khorne Space Marines would be his thing, and we quickly discovered that there's literally nothing any of us have that can deal with the Khorne Berserkers. Like even Gulliman will die to them, like eventually.
That's how
Nothing
it
we
should
have.
be.
They killed a Baneblade. Like it is ludicrous.
Yeah, they have access. They just jump on the main blade and make it to
So that's
pieces.
fine. So I figured, like, yeah, cool. Let's get Death Company. They'll maybe be able to, like, maybe hold up against them. No.
They'll
allegedly-
they'll be the main course, and everybody else will be snacking dessert, right?
So then
The thing is, you have to
in
shoot them to pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. In a kind of like, a peace offering, Tom has decided, he's just going to go for Adeptus Custodes as well. Who also turn out to be ridiculous fucking death machines. So I kind of feel
Tom.
fine taking Gulliman now, because everything else is fucking bullshit. Okay, so you put your flyer on the table, you put some Marines on so you don't lose, and then is the
and
aim
then
just
actually,
to run up and punch them?
yeah. Well, against Corn Berserkers, no. I've invested in a Whirlwind. And I think I might take more sort of artillery-like things, because the Whirlwind can target without even seeing their target, which is really, really nice. But you only get 2d3 if you want the heavy ones that will be able to wound a Space Marine. So I'm thinking, and if Emmett is listening to this, he has to close his ears. I'm thinking it will be the... I'm thinking it will be my counter.
I'm distracting him. Give me a sec.
Yeah. Do not
keep
listen.
talking.
Emmett. Yeah. I'm thinking the Whirlwind will be my anti-obliterator thing, because I absolutely detest Chaos Space Marine obliterators, which are the Terminators that have this sort of multi-gun arm where they can just choose if they want to shoot a las cannon or a heavy bolter or plasma. Yeah, they just shoot whatever type of heavy weapon they want, and they're Terminators with any heavy weapon they want, and it's just ridiculous. So anyway, I'm just thinking I'm gonna shoot them from afar.
Yeah.
With my Whirlwind, and also employ that Storm Raven thing after it's disgorged my black-clad Angels of Death. It will fly around and tear up the landscape, and hopefully get a few of the more important targets away. But let's just remember this lieutenant we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So what does a chaplain do? A chaplain allows to re-roll to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he allows them to re-roll failed hit rolls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lieutenant allows to re-roll ones that have been rolled on wound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine having a chaplain and a lieutenant with a death company nearby, right? You re-roll your failed hit rolls, and you re-roll your ones on wound. And if you have inferno pistols or plasma pistols or things like that, it's quite likely that you will wound on a 2 or 3, right? So you're beginning to get very, very good probability to actually kill people, right?
Quick question. Can you have a chaplain? Can you promote a chaplain to a lieutenant? A chap-tenant, if you will.
Chap-tenant.
That sounds
stand to.
Awfully overpowered.
Well, they talked a lot about these combos, right? And that's clearly what they want you to start doing these combos. Yeah. That's what the game has been set up to. You have to put in your banner bearers and your captains and your lieutenants and your apothecaries and so on. They want you to buy them. I mean, they want you to use the game to its fullest extent, right?
Yes.
So,
what are you giving your Death Company as equipment? Like, you're just giving them basic kind of like just chain swords and then like plasma pistols, or like what are you giving?
Well, you can only have 2 plasma pistols, and you can only have.
Is that per like 2 per 10?
Yeah, something like that. So I think right now I have 2 plasma pistols, 2 inferno pistols, and a hand flamer.
Okay.
On the group, because the pistols allow you to shoot even if you're locked in combat. So that's an extra advantage, and they're pretty crazy in combat anyway. So having chainsaws is fine.
Yeah.
You can probably boost them a bit with like a stratagem or a warlord ability or something like that as well, that they get extra attacks. So in theory, you could probably go toe to toe with a lot of different targets, just not Corn Berserkers. Yeah. So with the Corn Berserkers, what I'm thinking is, as far as I can see, what they have added as a new sort of heavy stuff would be the Redemptor dreadnoughts that have the heavy Gatling cannons, and the heavy Gatling cannons have quite a high fire rate, lots of dice, and pretty good stats on armor penetration as well. So it's my impression that you probably need either Hellblasters, which have lots of nice plasma shots, or something like a Redemptor or a repulsor tank with the Gatling cannons to have a good sort of barrage of high caliber shots against Chaos Marines or other armored targets.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds
so
like we're building very, very similar lists then.
Yeah.
Except I don't really have the physical space to store flyers at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Because I was kind of like, looked at the Death Company and thought, just give them like bolt pistols and chainswords and make them like the bare minimum points, and then like use those points to take more Death Company. But I think maybe the plasma pistol option, if you're bringing along people who can reroll ones, is actually a very good idea, because then you can just like overcharge them every time.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Like a Primaris lieutenant wouldn't be very useful for the Death Company, because you want them to have jump packs and kind of get stuck in, But then you just have a normal lieutenant, and then you put a jump pack on him, and it's just so good, man.
Jump tenant.
So,
are there any
jump tenant?
Are there any names characters who get to reroll ones to hit?
To it, well, all chaplains.
Okay. Oh, so what's his Lamati might be able to as well, yeah.
Let's see the captain.
Is that thematic? That's thematic, right? Because he's Lamatis of the Lost, right? So that's cool. Put him in.
Yeah, all captains. You could do captains as well. They also have hit rolls of 1. See chaplains. Right, so chaplains you can reroll failed hit rolls.
Oh, it's even better.
And captains are failed hit rolls of 1.
Okay.
So obviously a chaplain is a more
inspiring,
offensive sort of character in that sense. That's that you get to reroll any failed hit roll. So the lieutenant is wound rolls of 1. Yeah. So if we look at a plus, it's strength 7, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So
it's live rules chat.
Yeah, you should.
With Dave and Mike.
Yeah. No, but it's these are the little details that will swing it for you, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because imagine that you're going up against a high-powered group there, and you have your lieutenant and your chaplain, and can you imagine the face of your opponent when you're just re-rolling all these nice things? It's just. I think that's how they put it together. Like it's that is a combo. That is a really good combo. And I think there is a Blood Angels Warlord trait, which is called. It's not the speed. It's not the bearing.
It's called Dave's power.
Yeah, so you can add 1 to damage characteristics. No, that's his. I saw this earlier. I was sitting into the list builder, and you can sort of just mix and match in there. And I thought I saw something that gave an extra attack, but that might have been a stratagem then. Or was that the librarian, maybe? I think that's.
Are you IPing?
Sanguinarius.
Are you OPing your list?
Unleash Rage, that's the one. So the librarian, if he has Unleash Rage, select a friendly unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next Psyker phase, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of that unit. So they're already getting stuff when they charge. So you can see if you get the charge bonus and their attacks, and then also the psychic thing, and you have your rerolls, that is pretty darn high powered. For a small expensive group, yes, but still, they can do a lot of damage in short order. So that's kind of the thinking I have. Yeah.
That is fascinating.
But
I don't play any games.
The fab's just like clicking on the cosplay.
No, actually, I just remembered. Once you're done with your list building, we need to talk about Elite. We completely skipped over that. I don't know why.
Shit, should we talk about Elite? But can I briefly
finish your thoughts, please, first.
So just like in terms of for Felterran,
aren't we doing Black Library submission?
Oh yeah, kind of, but like Nicholas in the Discord wants to join in terms of like what we're going to commit to.
Well, he's such a super fan.
He is such a super fan, and I'm thinking I'm basically committing to. I've got 10 more Primarch Marines to paint, and 2 tanks, and like that's kind of like the Ultramarines done. And I was like wondering, when do we want to like have the next painting kind of milestone to be?
Mike.
Yeah, I'm the turtle in this game.
Here's us with our one finished model.
We have to have sort of an exponential challenge, I think, where Dave is the high.
Oh, that yes. I was thinking I could just reattempt my old goal.
Yeah, that's totally fine though, right? Like, if I then add in, okay, cool, I'm adding in like 10 Blood Angel Hellblasters, and then like say 2 Blood Angels characters. So that's what, like it's like 22 marine-sized things and 2 tanks. To like whatever you want to do.
But you'll have them done in like 3 months or something.
And yeah, maybe.
No, but see, the thing is, we have Operation Soap, right?
Yeah, we do.
I'll be spending about 3 months this year on a motorbike, like in a saddle alone.
So it maybe in the autumn we should say that we actually do meet up and do the 4 Feldherren.
Actually, like do a thing
in Hamburg.
Yeah,
I'm still calling
we were supposed to have gone to Hamburg probably around now or March, but obviously that's not going to happen. And the summertime is too congested. But maybe if we kind of just go like, right, this time, and then we have to go, we can't go on to, Sabaton Cruise and all that. But that's fine because we've seen them in Sweden. So we go to Hamburg instead. And so
we say sometime in the autumn, we have 1,000 points and we play some games.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll make it 1,000
doable.
points of things I've not already painted.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay,
and because otherwise I'll be like, I'm done.
I really have to get my game on because I can't like skip on this if you're actually coming to Hamburg.
Yeah, if we turn up to your flat, like, hello.
What's this, Fab? What are these grey things you present to us? Sitting on the sprues. You can't even put them on the...
Okay.
To be fair, I literally live like you can literally walk from the airport terminal to my flat in about 15 minutes. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, let's do that then.
That is the deal.
1,000 points by autumn.
I'll just reattempt my old goal. What's that? 1,000 points? I think, right?
Potentially. We can make it.
I'll just give him more expensive weapons or something. More grenades.
There must be a way. Different.
It's just these 3 Marines carrying like loads and loads of grenades, just stumbling under the weight of them.
The points up. So your goal, Dave, then is what? Like Blood Angels now?
It's going to be 1,000 points of Blood Angels.
Oh, not 1,000 points of Dave.
No, because like I mean, the Blood Angels cool. I've already bought the codex.
1,000 points of social justice warrior Blood Angels.
Okay.
Women.
Okay, deal.
God.
He took it. He took the bait.
Female Blood Angels. Oh my God.
Very good.
Easy.
There's a joke there somewhere, but I'm not going there.
Don't go there.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. Oh no.
Oh, things in space, eh? Oh, that's terrible. Jesus, I give up. It's a terrible segue.
Just say space.
Space. Mike, you
Let's go
pointed
to
us
space.
towards Elite Dangerous Beyond, which honestly I've not even
It's out today.
anything
It's
about.
out today, yeah.
It's a
It
new
is.
season. Yeah.
I think Fab should probably expunge on his knowledge.
I don't know. I
because
actually
he's-
don't know that much. I've been too busy at work. I haven't been playing Elite. Like if you look, I'll put a picture in the show notes I got from the Hutton Truckers Facebook page. The new ship is bloody good looking. So basically,
some gorgeous stuff. Yeah.
a lot about is like the Thargoid conflict, and now the Thargoids like attacking and whatever.
Yeah.
And there's more missions around that, and there's a new ship, which we talked about in the show before, but it's so good looking. My God. And really expensive, I think. Can't afford that.
Is that the Alliance Chieftain?
No, that's like a guy. I don't know what that means about memes about. This is like it's called the Defender, I think. Oh God. Now I have to look this up. I have to look
I think
everything
the
up.
Chieftain is a new ship, as far as I've heard.
Is it? Is that the Chieftain? Maybe. Oh, do you know more about this than me? This is embarrassing.
I saw a few screenshots of it, and it did look
But
quite sexy.
isn't this the type whatever Defender? Yeah, I'm looking this up. Give me the internet is more. No, I think the Type 10 Defender is the other ship we talked about. Oh, that's been online long ago, right? Ah, right. Okay, you're right, Mike. Sorry.
I will put it in the calendar. It's not very often.
Well,
when it comes to Elite.
I've been telling Dave he was right earlier, so maybe I'm turning over a new leaf here. Also, the Alliance Chieftain is like it's an
boy.
Alliance ship, obviously, so you have to have like rank. So I'll never get that. So now I understand. So I saw lots of pictures of like people, images of people like of in-game characters, and it said Alliance Chieftain. So I thought it was a rank. But it just means that they're all flying this ship now because see everybody. My God, that's a good looking ship. Holy shit!
I thought so too. Yeah.
I'm gonna put a second picture in the show notes. It's so good. My God, is that good looking? Oh God, I'll never get that obviously because I don't have like enough ranks. But
Yeah, the grind in the different factions is a bit of a barrier.
actually,
isn't it? But, yeah.
the grind is like one of the things they're addressing. So one of the thing, like obviously this thing is a whole new season of content, right? But the thing they're doing right now is like the stuff they've released now is lots of like improvements to the mission system and stuff. And but you know, obviously, as you can tell by me not knowing that this was the new ship, I mean, I've got access to the beta, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm an alpha backer, so I've got everything,
yeah.
but I've just haven't had time. Like, I would have loved to write about this for work as well, but I've just been busy with like other stuff, and oh God, I need to get
How
back
does
into
the
it.
how does like the kind of like reputation level work? Like, is it mutually exclusive with like the other factions? Like, if you're high enough to get this in this faction, are you like
No, you
then-
can grind it in all.
you can like get max in all of them?
So basically, what you do is you go to a system that belongs to one of the three major factions, and first you need to like increase your reputation with them through doing other stuff, and then you get like offered a mission you can do, and then you get like a naval rank for them. So it's the Alliance, the Empire, and God, I'm so out of this game. What's the third faction? Alliance, Empire. God, this is annoying. I have to look this.
Public? No,
Federation.
that's
A third of those words.
Yeah.
Those things. Anyway, so you get like a naval rank, and then you do naval missions, but they're like really, I don't know how you see this, Mike, but they used to be like really annoying, like small scale missions. You had to do really a lot of them.
I never really went for any of the factions, to be honest, because I was happy enough to just sort of fly into the void and just go exploring, you know.
Yeah, renegade. Independence.
Yeah, independence. Yeah. And obviously, it would have been a good idea to maybe have aligned up with one of the major factions in order to get some points for doing that kind of work. But I probably just didn't care enough about it, really, to be honest.
I just like the ships. I just like the Federation ships. They look great.
Yeah. So I think there's something about trade. That you now have more access to trade data if you've been in the system already.
You're right. That's one of the things that there are lots of like third-party websites, and they pull like they made like they give you access to more of that data, like in the game. So as you say, if you've been to a system like before, you could only see like the prices in the system you were at, and now you can actually see it from
that's
the
good, because that was like
that
was always a thing I had issues with, in that like there's this whole economy thing, but like it's a real pain to in-game discover all of these things. You have to kind of like jump out to external services, but yeah, that's kind of cool. It's going to make the kind of economy thing more viable.
The trading stuff, you basically to do this so far, you had to have like a tab or like a second screen or something, tapped out, have like the third-party website open, like figure out where you want to go. Because, I mean, you could do it in-game by just like guessing, I guess, and writing down stuff, but that was just like extremely annoying. My God, I'm just looking at pictures of this chieftainship. It's so sexy, like the pictures in this day. Like they also did something with the graphics, like based on these screenshots.
Yeah, with the planets.
Oh yeah, they did the planets, right? Yes. They made the planets more realistic looking and the colors better and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, they used to be like, one of the jokes was that all the planets were brown.
Yes.
They were shades of brown.
Yeah. They were.
Well, one of the things, this would interest Dave, as an astrophysicist, former, they made it too realistic. I think they had I read at some point like one of their designers talking about it like in the forum, like in some kind of design post or whatever, and so they made them very realistic, and it turns out like lots of planets look the same in the universe. So
there are indeed lots of rocky, boring planets in the universe.
So they still have a realistic model of the universe, but they dialed it a little bit more into the like sci-fi. Just let's do a little bit more interesting color palettes and stuff like that. Be a bit more artsy. And some of the lighting on these new screenshots amazing, like the planet. I mean, one of the most amazing things for me, I don't know, like if Mike, if you do exploring, you might feel as well. Like at first for me, the most interesting stuff was going in stations and stuff. But I think now the most interesting thing is just flying through, I don't know, like rings of planets, or just setting down on this planet and then, or this moon or whatever, and then seeing like the huge gas giant rise, on the horizon. I love that shit.
It's strange, the thing where I'm just playing a bloody computer game, but the feeling that you're setting down on a world where nobody has been, and you will most likely also be the only person ever to set foot on that if it's not an interesting planet, right? Because you can't land on the sort of Earth-like worlds yet. But that kind of, planting the flag feeling, I don't know, that gives me a kick, right? And it's just a stupid game, but that's why I did the exploration thing, was that it just that feeling of going like, this is new, the new frontier. I'm the first one here. I'm gonna go down and have a look. Even if it's just a shade of brown, a smidgen more brown than the last planet I was on. Yeah, there's something about it, like that's the attraction for me anyway. Just that you get that one thing where that this is a unique feature or something.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's that as well. I also like fighting from time to time. because I just think like they nailed the like it's dogfighting in space, but it's probably as good as it's gonna get. Like that was one of the things that was fun so hilarious about Star Citizen. I said it. But it's like I think Elite pretty much nailed it. Like it's really fun. But it's not like it's nice, but it's not special. As far as games are concerned, just competitive fighting, whatever. The exploration side is actually special. I mean, the one thing that fascinates me about Elite the most is like this planet generation, this universe generation thing they have going on, where they still like if you go to places where nobody's been, like the servers actually generate star systems, and they generate like the tectonics of the moons, and like the lines in the surface are not there just for decorative purposes. They have actual models that go like what would the tectonic plates be and shit like that. Fascinating.
And when you find an Earth clone or an Earth-like planet, just the sheer joy of going like, actually this is where somebody could live one day.
Yeah, for me
I
it's
put
like
that in the log,
once they like, I don't know if they ever will get there, because doing landable planets like that is obviously, I don't know, that's a whole nother engineering challenge, which Star Citizen is finding out live on stream every day.
The elephant in the room,
Just imagining that they could get there at some point is just for me, that's just the future. I just hope this game lives on for like 10, 20 years, whatever. Like it could be like if this. That's why I wanted to succeed, because if it stays there, it could be something like World of Warcraft, where they just keep refreshing the engine, and maybe a bit more radically, just refresh it and make it look better, and then at some point get to more interesting landable planets and shit like that. And I think it's interesting that they had this whole paid seasons thing with Horizons. I mean, that's obviously what they wanted to do. Have like that big, I don't know, 30, 40 euros thing every year that people would buy. Yeah. And I think they figured out that this isn't working. And so I don't even know, like the new updates are free if you have Horizons, right?
Yeah,
is that
as
how
far
it
as I can
works?
see, if you have Horizons, you get at least the episode 1, because it seems like there'll be several episodes of Beyond.
Right.
Or chapters, I think they call them.
Yeah, they don't call them. Chapter 1.
Yeah. So as far as I understand it, you get chapter 1 for free.
So
which of course,
I saw them like a year ago saying that the whole seasons thing, like Horizons, has worked. Oh god, there's ads auto playing. I really need to sort this shit out. That really hasn't worked. And that I don't know what their new business model is, but I hope it's gonna work out for them, because this is a great game, great people working on it. By the way, the audio quality on this is great. I think people will appreciate this, even though I'm disrupting you with Jeremy Clarkson by accident.
But we'll have to ask for feedback specifically on the audio quality.
Specifically on
clarity.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes. How do you think on a scale from 1 to 10? How annoying did you think Jeremy Clarkson was when you interrupted? Yeah.
Sure, it's from a scale of Fab to Dave.
You realize that the more annoying
scale.
The more annoying you find it, the most likely it is for me to just keep doing it. And
I'm the happy medium.
Yes, you're right in the middle. So this looks really great. I mean, another thing I'm just reading here is that also apparently the multiplayer, like the squadron missions, are much improved. So you can do more stuff.
You can do like missions with several people, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you could do that for a while, but like now it's obviously you can do more stuff. You can interact better. I really have to try this. The problem is, I'm like, once we finish this podcast, I'm leaving like for a 3-4 day like romantic getaway without my computer, which is just bad timing. Like Elite came out today, like Into the Breach came out today, which I find really interesting. But I'm not having any of that. So poor Fab. Poor Fab in his luxury hotel with his bottle of
you'll
Dom
have- yeah.
Perignon. I actually bought a
Yep.
bottle of Dom Perignon.
And your
Dave-
loving wife by your side. Yes.
Dave's like, what the hell's that?
I know what that is, fam. It's
Yeah.
champagne.
It's
I'm not-
150 euro bottle of champagne.
Not
Specifically
worth. Bad choice. Could spend on.
on Warhammer. Yeah, Katie
On the
will
Warhammer
appreciate
scale,
that.
how good a choice is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Bane blade.
But like something that is a good investment apparently is this. It's the passion planner that Mike's all
Oh,
about.
Mike's Love Life journal. Yes.
Yeah,
We've
it's
talked
like
about this for a long time.
allegedly like the number one thing, like the bestseller in like personal
It's
organizers.
on the US Amazon. It's listed as Amazon's choice on their page for personal planners,
Which is
and
like-
it's their bestseller as well. So
It's like
yeah.
bonkers. Like I still get like followed from like random like spam bullet journal accounts and like nothing. I've not seen anything for passion planners, and suddenly Amazon are like, "Yep,
Yeah,
So
they
I
take that.
thing."
I just
Well,
did
the social justice warrior part of it, they give out free passion planners to students. Every time you buy one, they give one for free to a student somewhere in the
Oh,
US.
okay. I better get on board then.
No, it's all
Yeah,
the
there you
passion.
go.
It's all the passion they have for their product, obviously. And
Well,
that just did some research. So the episode we talked about bullet journal and passion planner was GNR 21 on the 10th of August 2016.
Oh my god, that's so long ago.
So, and the interesting thing is, I've just recently stopped doing bullet journaling.
Oh really?
So it worked for me for a very long time, and then basically because I switched from we talked about this, from digital journaling,
Yeah.
and then I got an iPhone, and I just started using the calendar again, and like the thing, because it's like it's not synced with the cloud, like it's synced with the cloud, but like encrypted, not like not like Google Calendar stuff. And also you can not sync it. I think I'm actually not syncing it. It's just like on my phone. But anyway, so I stopped doing that. I now just use my bullet journals for just the note taking I always do as part of my job, shit like that. Yeah. But I'm guessing, I don't know, what are you doing, Dave? I'm guessing Mike's still passion planning
Little
with
bit
a
of both.
passion.
Like most recently, it's just like a monolithic to-do list in Google Keep of just like
what?
stuff that
Google Goop?
Google Keep.
Oh, Keep.
It's
Sorry,
it's
I misunderstood you
the
there.
Notes app.
Yeah.
Like, just like a big old like bullet point list of stuff that has to get done eventually.
Yeah, I have that
Slowly
now in like whatever the iOS thing is.
Yeah, like the bullet journaling is like super on the sideline. I've not done it in quite a while. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the kind of convenience of like I always have this like just massive list of stuff with me versus like a notebook I keep at home. I kind of find that the convenience of like having the app with me is kind of outweighing the kind of manual tedium.
Yeah,
of-
that was the same thing for me as well. Yeah.
because like originally the benefit was like writing it over and over again, but like eventually you'd be like so tired of like shit, I've copied this thing forward like every day for the last 3
Well,
weeks.
for me, the
I should
thing,
probably just do it and get it done with. Whereas now
the-
it's just like
the
the
thing,
most convenient thing is just being able to add things ad hoc.
the thing for me was like I like having a record, like for completely obtuse reasons, because I then realized that I've never once gone back to look at the record in like 2 years or whatever. And I was like, I might as well just do this ephemeral on the phone and just have it disappear once it's done, because I never go back and look. Why do I have a book full of this shit? And it's all the same thing because I keep postponing the same thing. So it's literally imagine in bullet journal, the same bullet point I keep pushing off, like duplicate it every day for 4 months, like every day. And I got really
That
tired
seems a
of
bit extreme.
writing the words. So, when you write a word so often that it just kind of like, it doesn't become it blends. It's like, it doesn't look like the word anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just becomes you're blind to it
Yeah.
and it loses its meaning. Which at that point you have you've gone over the cliff edge, and it's sort of irrelevant. You're just drawing out random words. But I mean, I know you like and also like to slightly dig a little bit at this passion plan thing, but it's worked for me because I can do the
just
bullet
giving
thing.
you shit for the name.
I know.
Good.
I know. But it's because you can do different things with it. I don't use it to the full extent because it is made as this motivational thing where you can sort of set up targets for yourself and you can sort of work your way through that in a year and achieve your targets. But obviously when you get to my life stage, it's just about survival. So, I can't just write survival in the passion planner. But the great thing
survive today.
So the great thing is that I can take information from several sources, my work and my home life and maybe my hobby sort of things I want to, and then I do kind of a bullet list on the to-do list that are on each week, because when you open the book you have a week and you can put in your focus, you can have to-do lists for
focus survival.
Focus survival. And it has calendar columns where it's each day is, and you can put in your appointments and stuff like that. So I kind of summarize it there. And it works for me because if I'm not traveling, I am at a desk and kind of just sort of trying to get back to where I was before I was out traveling and come back. Because when you travel, like, your normal routine just goes completely out the window.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've stuck with it. I like it. I like the layout. I like the ethos behind the company. But it probably doesn't work for everybody.
Well,
and
the thing is, I still like to have like a physical journal, like especially my book. In my job, I note down stuff all the time. And one of the things that Mike, you turned me actually on is like the Leuchtturm journals, which we discovered are from close here and close by, and I just love them. So I've been just getting those, and
they are very nice.
Yeah.
I think Moleskine is doing some kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Good.
Yeah, so Moleskine was pushing some kind of mixed digital and paper thing. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Basically, what it is, it's like
awful.
The technology's been around before. It's like this pen.
Yeah.
It's
with the special paper with the little dots.
Special
and all
paper
that,
in it. It kind of like knows where you're writing.
What I actually like more, what I want to have a look at,
awful.
but it's still way too expensive. There's this, what's it called? I forgot what it is. It gets advertised to me on Facebook all the time. It's like this e-paper tablet. It's like e-ink. It looks a bit like a Kindle, and it has like a pen
that you can write on and then
yeah.
sync like notes. It's
that looks
ludicrously
really cool.
expensive right now.
It's way too expensive. It's like 500
You're like,
euros.
this is a notebook. Why doesn't it cost like £5?
Well, it's 500 euros. It's like I can get a cheap ThinkPad for that. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like, in what way is this better than anything I currently have?
Well, it probably will. Like in 2 years, when the price comes down, it'll be great.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like it's been knocking around for like a while, and it's still expensive.
Well, what we need is like Elon Musk to buy it, and then he just can give it
yeah,
away.
exactly.
For free
Like
or something.
democratize that technology, put it in space.
I don't think you understand what democracy means.
Democratizing. Giving it to the people, man. Yeah.
No, that's socialism, mate.
I mean, I don't think you know what democratizing means. It has nothing to do with democracy.
The thing I wanted to ask Mike is like the thing that I think the first time I looked at Passion Planner as well, the website, the thing that completely intimidates me is like their advertising stuff they have has these passion planners that are so beautiful. There's these people who draw like shit in there, and that completely intimidates me. It's like mine's gonna look like shit compared to that.
But it's not like you have to take a shot of your book. It's not like this Instagram sort of peer pressure thing, And I know exactly what you're saying, and I've looked at my passion planner from last year and gone like, oh, that looked a bit sort of tired, There's no flair or creativity here. And then I started doing, but there's a little box that says good things that happened, and it's you can do whatever you wanted. So in that, I sort of sometimes
nothing, again, nothing. It's all shit. Why is this box even here?
But for this week, I could write podcasts, Legion of Dave. Draw the Legion of Dave simple and go. That was funny.
It's
just
a
little
block of
things.
Cheese.
Yeah, it's a block of cheese.
It totally is, right? It's totally a block of cheese.
Maybe it is. And there's inspirational quotes. You grow up the day you have your first real laugh at yourself.
Can we get
Ethel Barrymore?
Can we get them with inspirational quotes from Warhammer?
That's it. That's the new line.
Only in death does duty end.
For some
I think
values
Games Workshop has started doing their own merch line with calendars and journals and stuff. That's a match made in heaven.
They need a passion, but they can't call it Passion Planner. It needs to be called
Primarch Planner.
Yeah, or like
we must do the Primarch Planner. Gulliman's finest
planner.
Gulliman's finest Primarch Planner.
Yeah, Gilliman. Yeah, that'd be it.
That's what I want.
Like,
that's with inspirational quotes from the Primarch and the Emperor.
They should have them for all the legions, and for the Imperial Fists. Like this week's focus is always pre-filled with walls.
Walls.
And then,
yes.
if you get the Night Lords one, good things that happens. It's just like blacked out. I should
bad things we did.
Yes, I just want to get one of these, just to take the piss out of it. This week's focus be Clarkson.
Clarkson in my mind.
Ooh, no, never.
Be this week's focus.
And then instead of good things that happened was, what would Clarkson have done?
Yeah.
Things I could have done.
Be
as
Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah.
I just is this just me or the area space of infinite possibility? Right? Is supposed to I think infuse you with creativity or something. But it just gives me this Lovecraftian hole into the fabric of the universe, sucking out your soul vibe. I don't know. Infinite possibility. Everything
but it's not like it's not like the Passion Planner police is gonna drive up to your door and go you're not being creative enough, So
this is great. I have this vision of this dystopian future thing. We're the Passion Planner police. They're like Judge Dredd. You haven't filled out this week's focus. It's 5 days in the isolation cube for you. I like these. Oh man, I just want to buy journals now. I hate you, Mike. Yeah, I like the academic ones they have. If you actually they're if you're a student or something, they look really cool.
And they seem to have really sort of tied in with wanting to be sort of a grassroots thing where they give away stuff and they have happenings where, they go to a university and then they basically just hand out Passion Planners and all that. So yeah, as I said, good things all around. Very, very SJW.
Yeah, this shit's way too positive for me. I want Jeremy Clarkson's Passion Planner.
Or Conrad Curse's book of torture, where he actually knows what's going to happen on each day, so he fills it out on the 1st of January and just right, I'm done.
No. I want. We need this. We can make this, guys. We can make this. This can be our merchandise thing where we get rich, right? We make a Passion Planner and we kind of rip it off, but it's just going to be negative, and it's going to be the Book of Grudges.
Yes.
For every week,
Yep.
Sounds great.
And then have it with runes and Warhammer 40k it up and shit.
But then
get on that.
But we have to be dwarves then, if it's the Book of Grudges.
I'm okay with dwarves. I think I'm slightly too tall for being. I think we all are. Mike, how tall are you?
1.69 meters.
That's
Okay.
too tall for dwarves.
That's
Because you're my good friends, I don't say 1 meter 70 because that's what I usually do because it makes me feel better. But my passport says 1 meter 69.
I'm
so, yeah, there you go.
184. Dave is like 2 meters or something.
203.
What? You're 2 meters and 3.
Yeah.
Space Marine size. Yeah.
Holy
Exactly.
shit! Yeah, I forget how
Small
how tall
Space
he is.
Marine, but still. Yeah.
No, he's not a small space. Like
Alfarius or Omega.
no, we have a picture of you with the chart. You're
That's
like
true.
proper space marine. Well, the old Space Marines,
Old Space Marine.
not the. You're not a Primaris.
You'll never be a Primaris.
No, that's ridiculous. That is bomb.
I've just posted a picture for you of one of my pages. Incidentally, it's the week where Dave and I should have gone to see Arch Enemy,
Souls.
but
Where do I
for
find
reasons
this? For
that we will not disclose, it didn't happen.
what the hell happened? Was the Alpha Legion involved?
It was the Alpha Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave basically he got hoodwinked by both Alpha and Omega or
Exactly.
Omegon. So yeah, but we shall rise again
We
and
shall.
one day see them
Exactly.
in Birmingham or
Shall
somewhere
we do
else.
the feedback?
Yes. Where do I find this picture so I can look at it?
It's in Discord on the
Alright.
bands.
Right. I'll need to. Oh, you did. Oh, it's in the. Yep. That's people getting live tweets here from the.
It's so ridiculously
from the show.
wholesome. Space of
Oh, there's a
infinite
huge arch enemy
positivity.
sticker on there.
There you go. Creativity Fab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was looking very much forward to it. And I had received
feel-
that sticker as part of buying their special edition
You-
new CD and everything.
Your work to-do list looks like it could be straight from Gilliman. It's like, check this. There's deviation there. Burn the heretic here. Audit the data. Did you try?
I'm sure
did you
somebody
try
could
crying
actually-
face for Saturday because it didn't happen?
Yep.
Dave, see what you've done. Also, a quote of the week: "Done is better than perfect."
Yep.
Yes.
Except you didn't do it.
Well, I was more thinking of my painting, as we
Oh,
talked
right.
about earlier.
Oh, maybe I need a passion.
That was a good
planner.
save, wasn't it?
That was great. That was perfect. Anyway, feedback. We're gonna talk about the feedback from the listeners. This is a seriously long show,
It is a long one.
coming up to 3 hours.
How long do we have left on the recording?
On the recording right now, we have 36 minutes, so we should
Better wrap this shit up.
hurry the fuck up.
Okay, so we had a tweet from Remember to Remember who says, thanks to GNR, I finally read the first book in The Expanse. Amazing. I came for the drunk fab rants, but left with a sudden desire to be a space detective and a new book series to devour. Like, honestly, at this point, we need to start collecting royalties.
Well, I've been telling in response to this. I've been telling, the James S. A. Curry, the two guys, they should better send us at least a bottle of Lagavulin at this point.
I'll just like a name check. Just name a character after me. I'd love to have-
Beggar slippers.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
some DJ in a belter club somewhere called Beggar
Exactly.
Slippers.
I'd be totally up for that.
That'd be
Sounds great.
Like, if you want to, guys, if you're listening to this, right?
If they are.
Well, if they ever are, I think, like, if you want to like, then Ty, if want to call a really mean guy, like a really conservative asshole politician, and name him after me, call him Fab something or other, I'd be down with that. I'd be happy. I'm good.
The Supreme Ranter of Tankistan.
Yes.
I think they must be able to get that in there somewhere. Or Ranter in Chief, was
I
it?
could be like one of the guys on exactly. It could be like on Laconia or something, I think Laconia would fit me.
Would suit you just fine.
My whole way of. Oh, by the way, The Expanse season 3.
It's coming back in April.
Yes, and did you see Amos with a beard?
Yes,
Get more
it's very
beardy.
strange.
I think
I
it
don't
looks
like
good.
it.
You don't like it?
No, clean shaven, please. It looks wrong. All kinds of wrong.
Great.
I'm still on Nemesis games, but Amos continues to grow as a character for me.
Oh, yeah, he's
so good.
Have you read oh god, what is it? The Churn.
I remember the Churn. He explained the Churn in series 1, didn't he?
No. There's a short story called The Churn. You need to read this.
It'll like take you like half an hour. It's really worth reading. It's like really good. We also had some feedback in the Discord from Super User, who said it's probably too late, but this would be interesting to hear your take on the podcast, maybe the next one. And he links us to a bit of a thing about a kind of North Korean cyber spying thing, which I think Fab probably has opinions about, because this is basically like backing up my idea for like last year's prediction about cyber war. So I think I might like take a point from that.
Well, this is FireEye research on App 37, which they are saying is like it's North Korean cyber attacks on South Korea.
Yeah.
I think those were these guys. I can't remember if it's they're all called App something or other, which is horrible. And then they have like Fancy Bear or whatever the Russians are called. But I think they figured out they were from North Korea by like their work times, like they kind of corroborate like what building they were in.
They looked at like their Git commit history and were like,
it was basically when
North Korean
if
time
this
zone.
was the story, there was like one of these groups was basically the lead is the time they got off work, and like it's obviously very strict like in North Korea.
Okay.
I think that was that. I'll have to look this up.
Wow.
Was that App 37? Anyway, that's really interesting. Yeah. I'll actually. Oh God. I'm off for the rest of the week. Otherwise, I would probably have to write about this. I have these problems with like the whole attribution in cyber attacks is really shaky.
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
Especially with North Korea, like the stuff I've read about North Korea. And the stuff you see about like the level of technology is always a bit hard for me to imagine like these, state-of-the-art cyber people like coming from North Korea. You'd think the Americans would do this, right? So cyber war is like it's like the perfect American thing. Like since Vietnam, the Americans are like obsessed with like waging war without actually waging war, if you know what I mean. The whole, waging war without getting your soldiers killed thing. And you think like
no boots on the ground.
Yeah, do you think like cyber war is the best thing there? Also, you can like wage war and just deny everything. Also, I clicked on a picture of Kim Jong-un, and I'm always amazed how progressive his haircut is, like the whole fade thing. Like he could be like in The Expanse.
He does have like a fierce fade happening.
Yeah, it's like everything else in that country is so fucking backward.
Except he has like the kind of strongest undercut.
Yeah, it's like, where did that come from? I don't know. So. Also, if he wasn't a dictator, his face is very likable. You know what I mean?
He does look like super young. Yeah. It's like, a very strange dictator face.
He looks like an internet meme. He looks like if he wasn't a dictator, he'd be like,
he'd be a meme.
He'd be like winning at YouTube or something.
He'd be opening FIFA packs.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be perfect. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, just give up. Sort of fascism, and just get in FIFA.
Communism, mate. Anyway,
get on the YouTube ad train.
Yeah, it's like, isn't that there's more future in that than in like nuclear war? I think
exactly. Yeah. How many advertising agencies are there in the nuclear apocalypse? 0.
Also, he likes like movies and porn, Western shit. Like, just become a YouTube influencer, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Get everything for free.
He's got a built-in audience.
Yeah, he had the whole country.
He's
They
got quite
nothing
good
else to do.
reach. He's already, he's got good SEO on his name. Like, just make the switch, pivot right now.
Yeah, seeing as he's killed all his relatives.
Yeah, go for it. Do it.
Like, if you have a really common name, just kill all the other people that have the same name. This is some good SEO advice here from
speaking of fascism, Nicholas
God.
MM points out
Hitler.
that we missed the thing. So I prompted you on
missed
this.
the thing. No, you.
No, I mean, literally, the only reason I brought it up is because Nicholas mentioned it, but he didn't take the bait. So he says, God damn it, guys, you messed up the Merkel-Hitler thing. The interesting fact is that she overtook Hitler in days in office as Chancellor on the day you recorded.
So the thing was, I can explain why this was.
You're going to be like, they're different chancellors.
Yes, in my brain, because I studied history, like I would have never connected, the Bundeskanzler, the office of Bundeskanzler with the office of Reichskanzler, which is a complete, like, that's like...
Fair.
That
is completely understandable.
I just didn't get it. But being to be honest, being longer in office than Hitler is not as great in his achievements as being longer in office than Kohl, because Hitler obviously messed it up a bit very quickly there at the end.
Yeah.
And I think Merkel took the lesson from Kohl, which is just sit there, do nothing, smile and wave, and you'll be in office till you keel over.
And make fun of Britain. It'll go down.
Well, come on, you make fun of yourselves.
Yeah, but Merkel does it as well. It's really funny when she does.
I've got something else to annoy you, aside from putting Jeremy Clarkson in the teaser image for this episode. You know what you and Jeremy Clarkson have in common?
Oh, no. What?
You both don't like Brexit.
Ah. Oh, shit, does he not? Because
No.
honestly, he seems like such a pro-Brit, like that would appeal to him.
Come on,
He'd
he
be
likes to wreck cars in continental Europe.
That's true,
Yeah.
Cars would get more expensive. That is a good point. Yeah.
Yes.
He probably is pro-trade
So,
sort of agreement.
listeners, you have to ask yourself if Dave and Jeremy Clarkson agree on a thing. And me, by the way. I mean,
Whoa, the world's ending.
this can only be right. Now it's Mike's point to jump in. Actually, Brexit's a great idea. No.
No, you're not gonna hear me say that.
Because
No.
I'd like to continue going to Dublin and to being able to afford it.
I've been listening to Boris Johnson's
Oh, God, no.
wisdom on the Irish border, or lack of,
what's he
and
been saying?
it's
Oh,
he says that it's the same as the county
Croydon.
border
yeah.
between
Yeah.
London and Croydon or something.
Yeah, it's just like,
Essex.
no,
London and
Boris,
Essex.
stop.
and even for his level, it must be willful ignorance,
Yeah,
because
you
it's
can't be that stupid. Like
no,
it.
it's a
I don't
cavalier
understand.
sort of it'll sort itself out kind of attitude.
I think he's
which,
the definition of a moron, isn't he?
Yeah, totally.
I can remember when I lived in London, I will always remember the live video footage of him hanging like on the ropes.
in that zip line.
on that zip line. with the Union Jack flags. I
top
couldn't
of his
believe
helmet.
it. I'm like
It's literally not got better.
I'm like in the UK, right? I'm living there. Like I'm trying to assimilate. I'm thinking, so this whole culture basically parodies itself? Is that it? Is that what they do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
Yep.
well, yes. You know what we haven't spoken of in this podcast?
Uh-oh.
MWC.
MWC.
The Mobile World Congress.
Oh,
Or as I
of
like
course.
to call it, the moronic week of consumerism.
Oh, because they announced Nokia are bringing out the banana phone that was in the original Matrix.
Yes, but now you're like, I didn't want to talk about this. I thought this was all boring.
Yeah, no, I saw that and thought, man, that was a cool phone that I really wanted. And then I remembered, like, oh, I have the Pixel 2. It's literally better in every single way. And then stopped caring.
I have an iPhone. I'm good.
Except there's got a really cool flippy out bit. Which is like,
Oh god, my dad
that's
had
good.
that Matrix phone, that original one.
It was awful. Well, all kind of cool, but like, yeah.
At the time, I remember sitting in the cinema, and I know people around me were just going like, "Wow."
Yeah, that was
And-
the first time I saw it. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's quite rad." And then
We didn't
now-
have any style back then, did we? We didn't have any taste.
Man, wasn't running Android.
Fucking 90s.
Fucking 90s. If you want to email us to tell us that this podcast was like 3 hours long, and holy shit, what the fuck, you can email us.
Oh, by the way, I've something to say about this because like on the German gaming podcast.
Oh yeah.
we said-
Fab's secret German cheating podcast.
Yes, we got some feedback that it was too long.
That's bullshit.
And I'm going to
Impossible.
address that on this podcast, but I want to address it on here as well. Guys, public service announcement. This is a podcast. You can pause it at any time.
Exactly.
Like, there's a podcast I've been listening to now for about a week. Like, 20 minutes going to work, 20 minutes coming from work, 10 minutes while doing the dishes.
Yeah,
It's
like,
okay. It's not...
There was an Audible sale on audiobooks, and I got a 60-hour audiobook.
You have to listen to that in one sitting.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 60-hour audiobook of H.P. Lovecraft, and I have to sit there for 60 hours not sleeping,
don't
eating, or
complain
drinking.
about that, do they? What
No, they don't, exactly.
Lovecraft is it?
Well,
Is it-
Lovecraft is dead, so I
We
mean,
are
how-
better than Lovecraft.
No, I don't know. Maybe. What Lovecraft is it?
It's like the Necronomicon. So it's like a collection of
so
stories.
I've read all the stories. They're amazing.
Okay, because I've
We
never
are literally
got around to it.
better than Lovecraft, though, because the thing is, I still remember from reading Lovecraft, that is so fucking casually racist.
Oh no,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
totally a problem.
Like, compared to Lovecraft, I'm a social justice
Yes.
warrior.
Lovecraft is
Fair
like
enough.
he went outside, he saw an octopus, and then a foreign person, and then he wrote his stories. That, and he was like the unimaginable terror of someone who wasn't exactly like me. Every Lovecraft story.
I don't think, like, for me, it's just the, like, obviously the black guy couldn't come on the expedition because, he's the black guy.
Super problem. But he's well dead.
Well, that was
so-
the times, That's just, like,
Yeah.
product of its times.
Could you do a Lovecraft? What's the word? Remastered. Lovecraft remastered.
Reboot.
You probably could.
A reboot of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think it
yeah.
doesn't work because their whole thing, like why I love Lovecraft, I love Lovecraft, is that so you never see the actual thing in the story. It's always like there's stuff happening, and even the most explicit stories are like you never like it's unimaginable horror, right? So he never writes about that. I don't think that works for modern audiences.
And then he has these dreams where he talks gibberish about, something in the ether, in the plains of Shub-Sakurath or something like that.
Right.
And he never mentions it again. And I think it's wonderful with these, like, just crazy tidbits that
By
has no
the-
relation to what's going on.
By
People
the
should
way,
read the Laundry Files, which
Dave.
is Lovecraft meets spies meets Dilbert. It's fantastic.
isn't that? Yeah. Isn't the Laundry Files from who wrote that?
Charles Stross,
Yeah, he's
anti-pope.
but yeah, annoying sometimes to me.
He's great.
If
Yeah.
you read The Shadow over Innsmouth, which is a great Lovecraft story, it's one of my favorite ones, just think Zuckerberg. The fish people in that, I've been saying that for years.
You have been saying he's a fish person.
He describes how they look, and it's just immediately for me recalled Mark Zuckerberg. Berg, whatever. Seriously, read the story. Oh, I just looked that up on Wikipedia. It has a Wikipedia entry. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes because it has an amazing tree of all the characters are related. It's just
Someone took a long time doing that.
yeah.
Because I can confirm that takes a very long time to do in Wikipedia.
It's just apparently everybody's related, which is part of the problem why they're all fish people.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
if you hit edit on that and you have a look at the bullshit they had to write. To make
Holy
that
shit!
It is bonkers. Yeah, fuck that.
Wow.
If you think that's good, you should email us.
I'm totally stealing the character named Barnabas Marsh for my for my Black Library novel. By the way, for the detective Columbo meets Space Marines.
Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should
Sorry.
email us at gnr@sixgun.org saying, "Oh my god, it's 3 hours long."
We
you can
have
tweet
a
us.
hard cutoff on the recorder, so you.
Yeah, which is why I'm promptly moving us onwards. At Geek News Radio, you'll reach Fab and I. You can reach us individually. Fab is
Foxtrot Alpha Bravo Sierra Hotel at Fab.
Fabsh, as I read it every time. I'm at Mega Slippers. It's at Mega Slippers. It's pretty obvious. Mike is at
MSTEVNS M stands MJ.
Boom. You should join the Discord, where this week we created a special German channel to discuss German politics.
Oh, I'm sure you mean the Politik-Kontroversen Diskussionssozialraum.
Yeah, can you translate that for me? Because, like,
I just made
what
that.
the fuck does that mean?
It means
Political controversy,
discussion,
controversy,
social
discussion,
room.
social.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's a bit
Yeah.
labeled, but I had to make it a long word, so it's called.
Given the Bantz room consistently turns into German politics, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening here. That is a great room to have made. Yeah.
Awesome.
You will know soon, because as soon as Brexit happens and Britain just flounders, then Germany will take all over.
Oh
all
man,
of Europe.
when Brexit happens, the Six Gun Discord is going to split into 2 separate rooms.
Do we have
It's going to be
Is that
enforced. Yes, literally the law.
like legally mandated?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Brexit means
bans Brexit.
exactly. Bantz EU, Bantz UK. Like, that's how it's going to be divided. We're not going to be able to look at each other's.
Do I have to,
kind of
like, when we do the
forums.
podcast, then do I have to play a sting
We're
every
gonna-
time between, like, when I talk and you talk?
Yeah, we're gonna have to record MP3s and then email them to each other. And
Well, that would
and
be
then sort of
double
splice
ender. I
them
did
together.
that for years.
Well, no, like literally, like it'll be me emailing like a 20-second, like this is what I have to say. It'll be like chess by post,
Oh
except
my god!
podcast by email.
PBEM. Play by email. Podcast by
Crossing
email. PBEM.
That's Brexit for you.
Crossing the Great British Firewall.
It's gonna be literally
Thanks,
the worst.
Theresa May.
Yeah. In addition to the Discord, we also have the YouTube channel where we post videos of the times when we stream games.
Oh yes, we played.
We played
PUBG.
lots of PUBG.
That was fun.
You played some on your own, and then
You
Nicholas,
played some with Nicholas. That was fun.
ultra fan.
It was a very
us.
deep voice.
Yeah, no, like so I'd watched a talk he gave at EuroPython, and yeah, deep voice. And it was good. It's
voice.
fun. Just watch the first game. We come second. It's only downhill from
It
there.
goes down it from there.
It gets a lot worse towards the end.
Just watch my single game. Like the single game I did, I only killed one person in the first game, and that only happened because I thought he was in a room in a building, and I wanted to throw a grenade in the window.
Yeah.
I walk around the corner, he shoots me, I'm dead. He then proceeds to loot me.
Oh no.
And I didn't actually know that this was in PUBG, but apparently it is, which is great. So, because I was holding a hand grenade at the time and then died, like 2 seconds later, the hand grenade goes off. And because he loots me, he dies. And my reaction to that is hilarious. I'm very happy about this kill.
It's good.
Kill switch. Very good.
Yep, that man switch.
Sweet.
Well, yes, see you again at
Next
some point.
Yep. Plan like a
Peace.
Primarch, kids.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet. Lots of passion.